Chat, 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 chat. Can you tell me what melody that's from?
It's Nickelodeon, dude.
Wow, you're so smart. All right, where we at? We got 24 days to go. We got 38 followers. We need 1,000. 24 days to go. We can do it.
So you don't know where it came from?
Well, I know we got like 15 from YouTube, and then we have 7 here. 7 plus 15 is 22. So I can't tell you where the other 16 came from.
Does it count if like people maybe like follow you and then unfollow you?
If they unfollow you, they would have taken it off already, I believe.
So they wouldn't just keep it there because if it's not a number, if you add it together, then is it just a?
Can you speak up with your big girl voice a little bit? I just we can't hear you. I'm reading it right now. It's not
Okay.
popping.
Okay. You want me to be all the way in the red?
I mean, not all the way in the red, but like, can you speak up?
Yeah, I'm just not trying to wake up the baby. So we're just gonna be quiet.
I mean, it's not necessarily being quiet.
Yes,
I'm just trying to hear you. You know,
okay,
I can't really hear
Dalen.
you.
Yeah, sure.
I'll speak. Tone. Is that
I'll
cool?
speak louder, Dalen.
You okay with talking? Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, because first you tell us not to be loud because the baby is sleeping, and then now you want me to speak at full volume. So yeah, I'll speak louder, Dalen.
I was just asking if you could speak a little louder so we could hear you. We couldn't hear you.
Okay, that's fine.
I got something in my hair. You didn't tell me I have something in my hair.
I was fixing it, and then you started it.
Oh my gosh, look at you. Okay, look, I have something I want to show you. It's pretty funny. Oh wait, where you at, chat? Where you at? Where you at, chat? Where you at? Where you at? Where you at, chat? Chat. Ooh, look at us. We look good, are you? You're beautiful, baby.
Thank you.
What?
Nothing. Do you need to sing that?
Well, you don't like my song?
No.
You don't like my chat?
No,
Yeah,
and I also don't like the word
chat. You don't like the word chat?
Yeah.
What's wrong with the word chat?
Every time you say it, it's just
Chat?
rubs me the wrong way.
You got problems and issues. Look at this. What if this was you on the wedding day? Would you be down? Wait, hold on. Whoa! Would you be down to like skate off into the sunset? Look at that.
No.
Like
Look at
everybody.
her hair is messed up because she was running and she's skating in the wind.
But look, everybody a little lit. Everybody lit. You know what I'm saying? We just walking out of the reception. With this reception getting married. Boom. Here we go. Boom. At least you didn't faceplant. You think it's gonna be good? That's when he fails.
Please.
Oh! Oh! Yo, that can't be real. Is that real? Oh my gosh. Okay, pause it. Hold on. 1 second. 1 second, because I just want to make sure y'all in this. Y'all in this chat. Y'all see this? Like, y'all hear us clearly? Oh my gosh. Like, what is going on? Did you see that? He straight pushed her into the pool. It almost seemed like it was on purpose. That's crazy.
No, I don't think people do
It wasn't on purpose, but like
that kind of stuff on purpose.
Can you imagine?
I would be so mad.
Oh my gosh. Kiss the bride. Oh! Oh!
She's laughing.
She is laughing. At least she's laughing. They doing too much. You're already doing too much.
Just let me see the video.
I'm just saying, like, I just want to comment first. Like, you kind of already doing too much. It's gonna end. It's not gonna end well. Look. Hell nah, but he didn't even. He wasn't even ready. I don't even know who the groom. But he's the groom. Buddy right here got to be the groom. Hopefully, because this is embarrassing right here.
They both don't have any sense of balance.
Not at all.
You can tell by the way they walk. Look at him.
Shh. He started off going backwards. He's alright. He got him quick though. Wow. Oh. What you doing if a dog peed on your dress?
A dog wouldn't be at my wedding.
Facts.
I'm allergic, but still, a dog wouldn't be at my wedding.
Enough said. Whoa. In the mud?
I'm man few words, so hope you're not expecting long speech, as I'm not going to support you, alright?
I have a lot to say about this video, but I feel like if I shared my opinion, it just probably wouldn't really be right.
I can't even watch the video.
Oh, shit.
Do you really want to spend the rest of your life watching
hate
ads
YouTube
for
ads.
this download 5? It's a free
Oh my god.
Google Chrome extension that's actually made by one of the founders of Honey. And it
Oh
basically
my gosh. Oh shit, he done fucked up.
There's actually cracks in the floor here.
No way. It's gone?
Mate, your big job nearly went out the door.
Huh. I guess the ring was gone. Ooh. Ooh. Oh. Oh. It's like they both had it planned. Would you be down to do that on our wedding day?
No. Any type of like.
Ooh.
He split.
Why he do the splits anyway? Oh hell no! Somebody catch on fire. Why his pants? Why is my pants falling? He said, oh shit. He said, oh shit.
Oh, they all falling.
Everybody's going down. Everybody's going down. Everybody's going down. She took off. She took off. She already knew. She knew this was a bad idea. That's the one friend that knows it's gonna be a bad idea to do this. Gone.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Whoa.
Oh my god.
Connected with God, emulating the divine Holy Trinity.
Flies flying around his head? Is that a fly on his head?
Didn't take a shower before the wedding.
Emulating
Dang. Oh, he like,
the
oh,
divine Holy Trinity.
hell no. Hell.
All right.
Wow, he didn't know what to think after that one. That is childish. That was childish. This couple, that was childish. Did you see that real quick? We're gonna do this real quick. Why he try to put her face in the cake and the cake fell over?
I thought they were just trying to gut the cake.
No, he tried to put her face in the cake on their wedding day and the cake fell over. He tried to be funny as hell. They got that type of relationship. You know what I'm saying? You gotta have a certain type of relationship to push your wife's head inside the cake on your wedding day. Disrespectful.
Trying to see what he's gonna do. Oh, he's looking. There you
Now
go.
this is beautiful. Oh shit. At least it was just a hat.
Hey, hey Joel, it goes on the rocks.
Ooh. What they trying to do? Oh my god. Okay, that's enough of that. You know that. After a while, it kind of gets a little corny, but some of those are pretty funny. I mean, honestly, this one right here, the first one, how you started off, like that's just crazy. And then the one that comes right after it, this one's probably my favorite one right here. This one's nuts. This is nuts. Look at his face right here at the beginning. Look at his face right here at the beginning. He tried so hard. Watch. Watch right here. He's like, oh, okay, I'm gonna do this.
His ankle's broke. Oh, he's.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Pastor in all. He took down the pastor in all. That's disrespectful. That's so crazy. Oh my gosh. I don't know how they do it. I don't know how they do it, baby. That's wild. That's wild. Hey, how y'all doing, chat? Talk to us, man. How y'all doing? We hope y'all had a wonderful weekend. We hope y'all families is blessed. You know, depending on what part of the state you're in, you might have some crazy weather. I know where we're at right now in Texas. The wind is blowing. You know what I'm saying? Her eyelashes damn near falling off, just flying away. So
No, they're not, because I haven't been outside, so.
plus, she got a good lash artist. You know what I'm saying? She makes sure they glued on. Make sure that thing is glued on, stuck. Lashes is stuck, stiff. You want to make sure your lash artist is good. You gotta go out there in the wind. You gotta be, look, I need my lashes to be able to survive 40-mile-per-hour winds. Winds blowing 40 miles an hour. You flying away, but your lashes staying. You're just like that. You look beautiful.
Thank you. You don't have to say that just because I'm your wife.
Oh, trust me, I'm not.
So then why are you saying it?
Just say it. I can't just say it. I can't just say, oh, you look beautiful.
I didn't say you couldn't. I just said why are you saying it?
Because I want to. I'm not saying it to get any. I got everything I need.
Okay. Anyway.
So you don't like when I do chat.
Dylan, please let the last time be the last time.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just understand that as this chat grows, as it starts popping, I'm definitely saying chat. Because as soon as we go live, they're going to be, what? 100, 200 people, 1,000 people right there. You know what I'm saying? They go chat. Everybody going to be put in the chat. You know what I'm saying?
Dylan,
Hater,
I'm
mad
over it
hater,
already.
max hater. You know what I'm saying?
Already over it.
The people that love you the most might hate you the most. The closest people to you, it will be your wife. You know what I'm saying? She'll say all the things that love you and all the things that hate you at the same time. Play, you already know what I'm talking about. Alright, so baby, what we got today? Talk to me. Like what's on the list? Like, I know there's a couple things, you know what I'm saying?
Well,
There's a couple questions that came in. Talk to me, baby.
You want to do questions, or do you want to do like the crazy like podcast that I was trying to show you the other day?
Yeah, whatever you want to do. Talk to me. Wherever you want to start.
Maybe we can tie the questions as an intro to later when we do our episode.
Okay.
Because I'm gonna have you switch to the other screen where it's just us, so that we can tell our story. But that'll be later.
That screen?
Yeah, that's for later.
Okay. You wanna go that way later? Okay, we can go that way later.
I think we need to have more eye contact with the camera.
We can have more eye contact with the camera. We could definitely do that.
Okay, so do you want to play a question game, or do you want to do? You want to listen?
What's a question game? Like what do you mean by that? Like, what exactly is a question game?
Like what you showed me earlier.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, like that. Those are questions that that it's a question game. Those are also questions that people have asked us that came in. So,
okay.
However you want to, wherever you want to take this. I know you said there's also another video that you wanted me to watch that I haven't seen before. Was it like Crime Junkies or something like that?
Yeah, it's a podcast.
A podcast. So,
yeah.
Do you know exactly what episode you want to dive into?
No, they're all like different stories.
Okay. So yeah.
Cases.
All right, yeah. So wherever you.
But a lot of them, long story short, my lash artist plays it while I'm getting my lashes done, so she just has it like what's it called? It just plays through the playlist.
You have a brain fart? You just had a brain fart?
No, I wanted to decide what word I was gonna use.
Okay.
But yeah, she has it playing on the playlist, so it just goes in like a random order. But since we're like on the topic of like, relationships, there's a lot that are like about crazy, just like almost crazy, disturbing stories.
Disturbing stories
about like
just like crazy, disturbing stories
and relationships and.
What? Okay, so like, what is it called? Like, where are we at?
You can go to YouTube.
Where are we at?
So we can watch it.
Go to YouTube.
Mhm.
Okay.
Search. We're gonna search the search bar.
Okay, what am I searching?
Crime Junkies. It's already there.
Yeah.
And then you can go to their YouTube.
Crime Junkies.
And then you can pick.
Flowers, and I'm Britt.
Okay.
Pick anything that might be appealing to you. And then you can probably tell maybe by the title.
Okay, I can tell by the title.
Yeah.
All right, chat. I know y'all can see this, so let me make sure y'all can see this. All right, yeah, y'all can see this. Y'all hear everything. So, which one y'all want to see? Like, which one are we thinking about? It's a greater mystery than what happened to Joe Bennett. Okay.
She tried to leave him, so he killed her.
Right here?
Stuff like that. The second one?
Wait, she tried to leave him, so he killed her.
Yeah, so like there's different stories, so like if you want to keep.
Okay, I see. Woman of the Hour. I didn't mean to click that. Go back. Coincidence. The Speedway Bomber Theory. No case has haunted me like this. I mean, we might as well just go with the first one. I mean, like the second one is new 2 weeks ago, 23,000 views.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? She tried to leave him, so he killed her.
Crime Junkies. I'm Ashley Flowers. And I'm Britt. And today's story, the one I have for you, is a powerful, tragic reminder that the most dangerous time in an abusive relationship often comes when a victim is trying to break free. And that sometimes the person closest to you can become your worst enemy. This is the story of Lisbeth Almon Popoka.
Hold on, before we get into it, let me see. You know, I just gotta double check. Make sure the chat good. Let me make sure we're good. Okay, Pip good. All right, you know what I'm saying?
It's Wednesday, July 1st, 2020, and Yannette Almond's phone rings with a call that she's not expecting. On the other end is her sister's longtime boyfriend, Jonathan. Now, in all the years that she's known him, Jonathan has only ever called her for one thing, like to arrange childcare for their daughter, Yannette's 7-year-old niece. But this isn't one of those calls. I mean, right off the bat, Jonathan asks her if she knows where her sister Lisbeth is, because he says she's fully just like MIA. And she's left their daughter, Astrid, at their East Haven, Connecticut apartment alone. And again, she's 7. In fact, it was Astrid who alerted him to Lisbeth's absence in the first place. I guess when she woke up, she realized that mom wasn't there, and she called him. That was at like 9:15 in the morning, just as he was kind of wrapping up his shift at UPS. And he said he really didn't think much of it at first. Like, he thought maybe Lisbeth just stepped out for a minute. So he kind of was just, assuaged her concerns, finished his shift, headed home as usual. But when he got there at around 10, there was still no sign of Lisbeth. And her car, a 2007 white Lexus, was gone too.
When's the last time anyone saw her?
So, Yannette had talked to her sister the night before via Instagram. And Jonathan says that he was with her in bed, and then he left for work. So that was at 3:15 in the morning. He works that kind of overnight shift. So it hasn't been that long that they've gone without talking to her, but Yannette knows her sister's world revolves around Astrid. There isn't a world where she would just leave her alone.
Are these real stories about real people?
Yeah. Yeah.
Especially since Yannette is always available to babysit. Again, that's what she was kind of expecting the call to be.
Right.
So Jonathan also says that Astrid isn't the only thing that she left behind. Her phone is still there. So he's like, I can't even try and call her. But even though her phone is there, along with her car, some other things are gone, like her purse, her passport, some clothes, and apparently $10,000 from their safe.
Oh, that kind of sounds like she left on purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Or at least there's some clear signs of that, right?
Yeah, those important things.
Yeah. So Yannette wonders if her sister maybe just needed some space. And so she asked Jonathan the obvious question. Did you guys have a fight?
Mm-hmm.
And he admits yeah, we did have this little argument the night before, but it wasn't serious. We kissed, we made up before bed. The thing is that Yannette is pretty sure that's not the full story, because Lisbeth and Jonathan have been together for over a decade, since they were in high school. And though she was private, Lisbeth had confided in her sister about some issues that they had. And honestly, some issues is an understatement. Their relationship was straight up toxic. She caught Jonathan cheating multiple times. They had broken up, reconciled more than once. Over and over again, she stayed for their daughter, even though he wasn't exactly a doting father. And things had only gone from bad to worse recently. So back in May, this is just a couple of months before, Yannette had planned this cookout, and her sister was supposed to come with Astrid, but they didn't end up going. And Lisbeth said that she didn't feel well, but the next time Yannette saw her, her arm was in a sling and her shoulder was really swollen. And 3 fingers on her left hand were bruised, almost purple.
But he's beating her.
And Lisbeth said that she and Jonathan had gotten into a fight. But Yannette told our reporter Nina that sometime after that, she noticed this shift in Lisbeth. Lisbeth seemed done this time, done for real. She was looking for a job. She was reconnecting with her love of art by designing stickers and decals, hoping to turn that creative outlet into a business and gain some independence. And just a couple of days before all of this, on June 29th, Lisbeth even put in a rental application for an apartment in Yannette's complex, planning to move there as soon as possible without Jonathan.
She was trying to get away.
Now, as far as Yannette could tell, Lisbeth was ready to end things for good this time.
And had Jonathan realized that?
Well, yeah, she'd made it clear to him.
Okay.
But whether he understood how serious she was, I don't know, right? They've done this back and forth thing before.
Right.
So as Yannette's talking to him, she has all of this history running through her mind, but she's still not panicking. Not yet. The leaving her daughter behind does not make any sense, any way you cut it. But other signs point to her getting away just for a minute. So Jonathan and Yannette make arrangements for her to watch Astrid so he can go looking for Lisbeth. And of course, the second they're alone, Yannette starts doing what we would do. She's like asking Astrid questions. I mean, Astrid's 7. She's old enough to know what's going on. So like, did you hear your parents fighting? Do you have any idea where your mom went? And Astrid says that her mom took her to bed in her room, Lisbeth's room, the night before. And she was there when Astrid fell asleep. But then Astrid said when she wakes up, her mom is just gone. And her side of the bed was already made. But Astrid doesn't remember any arguments. She doesn't remember any strange noises, like nothing woke her up in the night. And while she doesn't seem frightened, she is acting sort of odd. Like she's looking around Yannette's apartment with almost this intense focus. And then she tells her aunt that she's going to be living here now.
Wait, that Astrid is going to be living there with her aunt?
Yeah, and she's like taken aback, like she doesn't know what it means, but she doesn't even really dwell on it at first.
Your mom probably told her you need to live with your
aunt now.
And it's weird because there's just no word even from Jonathan. So Yannette eventually calls him to check in. And he says he's talked to a couple of Lisbeth's friends. No one knows anything. And then he's like, well, I'm going to go do some laundry now.
Okay. I mean, unless he's like out of underwear, what's the rush? Like,
even if you are, like, it's
strange
because to Yannette, like, he doesn't seem at all.
Trying to clean the blood off the clothes.
So Astrid ends up staying the night with Yannette, almost like the first sign of this self-fulfilling prophecy. And the next day is an even harder one because the next day actually is Lisbeth's birthday. Now, this is when Jonathan finally shows back up, but he's not there to pick up his daughter. He's dropping off groceries, like a lot of groceries, as if he is planning on Astrid staying with Yannette for a while. So Yannette sits him down and presses him for information. And that's when Jonathan starts painting a troubling picture of Lisbeth. He says that she just hasn't been herself lately, that she's been severely depressed, she's been drinking a lot, smoking weed, even seeing other men, specifically a guy named Jose that they knew from high school. And in fact, Jonathan says that he's trying to track down where Jose lives to see if maybe she's there with him.
Oh yeah, he's trying to find Jose.
Concern, you know, the reason he's like, I'm not worried, is he thinks Lisbeth isn't in danger. She must have just run off with some guy. And Yannette knows Lisbeth has been struggling, but everything else he's saying doesn't line up with the sister that she knows.
Who is that?
I don't know. We're about to find out.
Who is that?
I knew you were going to say who is that. I don't know who that is. So
Is
just play it.
Is that
I don't know
Jose or is that Jonathan?
Well, that says UPS. That looks like the dad.
Okay.
Like
Jonathan's making himself out to be almost like the victim here, saying that he doesn't know what he did to deserve this, and he's wondering about how he's going to care for Astrid.
Well, it doesn't seem like he's planning on taking care of Astrid.
Crazy.
Like, it seems like he's going to leave her there with Yannette.
Yeah, and the more he talks, the more uneasy Yannette feels. And that's when she realizes it's time to tell their dad, Albino, what's going on. Now, Lisbeth and Albino aren't super close. You see, Lisbeth and Yannette grew up in Guerrero, Mexico, and when their parents moved to the U.S. in 2001, the girls actually stayed behind with their grandparents. But their parents split. Their mom basically kind of bowed out of their lives, and they didn't join Albino in Connecticut until around 2010. So that's when Lisbeth was 16. So there was like a lot of formative bonding years that were missed, and rebuilding that relationship had been tough. But at the end of the day, Lisbeth is still his daughter. So he comes over while Yannette and Jonathan are still there, still talking this out. And when he hears what's going on and he hears Jonathan's version of events, Albino can't shake the same feeling Yannette has. Like, none of this makes sense. But there's a new detail now that Jonathan adds. He insists now that Lisbeth actually did take her phone with her. He says not her regular cell phone, but one of those like phones that only works on Wi-Fi.
The burner phone.
So Albino's like, okay, I need to see this for myself. That night, he makes Jonathan take him back to their apartment and he checks all over inside. But there's like nothing weird, no sign of a struggle, no damage, no strange smells, no clues at all, even about where Elizabeth might have gone. So the next morning, this is now Friday, July 3rd, Albino drives by their place again just to see if anything has changed. there's still no sign of Lisbeth or her car, and that's when he decides it's time to bring in law enforcement. So he calls Jonathan, who agrees to meet them at Yeneth's so they can all go to the East Haven Police Department together. But this is when things get really strange. So within minutes of that call to Jonathan, at 10:40 a.m., Yeneth's phone buzzes with messages that stop her in her tracks. Hi, Crime Junkie. I'm your host, Ashley Flowers.
And I'm Britt.
And every week we cover all kinds of
They got their own
cases, from the most infamous to
Damn.
deaths and disappearances,
We got
even cases you've never heard anywhere else.
If you
Supposed to be Capital One?
all things true crime,
They bad.
Their voices.
And if you're like us and want to make a real impact in these cases, you're definitely a crime junkie.
So join us every Monday for new episodes.
You can find Crime Junkie wherever you get your podcasts.
Okay, you got their own little ad.
Okay, so the incoming texts are from a number that Yeneth doesn't recognize with a Florida area code. Again, they're in Connecticut. So the area code's 727. And the person who's sending these texts are claiming to be Lisbeth, but they're written in Spanish. Now, roughly translated, I'm going to have you, I wrote out what the rough translations are.
She got the
I'm going to
text?
have you read.
Hey girl, how are you? Sorry for what I did with Astrid. I'm not going to be able to help Jonathan by myself, please. I'm good, don't worry about me, please. I'll call Jonathan now to tell him how things are. I don't want to talk to anyone for the moment. Give me my space. I just want to put down my thoughts and what I want to do.
So she gets these and does the immediate thing that I would do. She hits the call button and tries to get this person on the phone who's claiming to be Lisbeth. She waits, the phone rings, and it rings, and it rings.
That timing, it feels so...
Exactly.
Way too...
Right when we're about to go to the police station.
No one is picking up on the other end. And when Jonathan arrives, he's like, oh, guess what I just got? I got these texts from Lisbeth too. And he says that she basically told him she wasn't happy with him, that she wanted a fresh start, and that someday after she gets her life together, she's going to come back for Astrid.
Wow.
And while the text might have set off all the sister spidey senses, Jonathan is just like, well, now we know what happened. Nothing more we can do here. Let's just keep living our lives. Certainly no reason that we need to get the cops involved.
Yeah, he let it go too easy.
No, absolutely wrong.
Yeah, so her dad and her sister are more convinced than ever that they need to go to the police. And
Absolutely.
They do get Jonathan back on board with that plan. He just wants to do one thing first. Can I real quick sign over custody of Astrid to Albino and Yeneth? I guess he's worried that going to the police will trigger a report to the Department of Children and Families, and he doesn't want them to take Astrid away. So to him, signing over custody seems like the safer option, which this is... I would say you have experience with stuff like this.
He moving too fishy.
He even do that without the other parent there. He's only one of two people who have custody of Astrid.
The short answer is no. Something like that requires a court order. He says he wants to basically just get a notarized letter or something, which again...
He was trying to do real quick, you just go to 7-Eleven and get this done. Let's go to CVS real quick. I'll sign these papers. You take custody of my child. That ain't crazy.
Not how it works, but they do. They go, they do that. And it feels weird to everyone, but they have bigger concerns on their minds that afternoon. And so they do this, then they go to the police, and then they sit down with an East Haven officer who asks Jonathan to walk him through everything. And he gives them the same story. And while there are no new details...
This is them in front of the...
In front of the police station?
This is in front of the police station, it looks like, from maybe the camera.
Oh my gosh. I'm like, what's going on? What's up, Nella Moon? What's up, Nella Moon?
We are watching Crime Junkies. Has a bunch of stories about disturbing relationships that just end up in tragedies, where people go missing, people are suspects of killing their significant others, and all type of crazy shit.
But he looks sus.
Details, there are a couple of interesting takeaways. Even though him and Lisbeth aren't married, he keeps referring to her as his wife.
Okay.
And he just completely leaves out everything about the text that he supposedly had gotten from her.
Wait, the ones that made him feel so much better.
Because nothing's wrong.
Nothing's wrong.
Right. Now, luckily, Yeneth's there too, and she's like, oh, by the way, like, show him the messages that she supposedly sent you. I'll show you the messages she supposedly sent me. So he shows the officer the messages, and the officer tries calling the number himself, just like Yaneth did. He doesn't get an answer, but he leaves a message asking Lisbeth to contact East Haven Police Department when she gets the message.
I'm going to be honest.
Can you imagine the police officer? Hey, you think you call East Haven Police Department? They're looking for you.
We looking for you. We all looking for you. Can you just do me a favor and reach out?
I don't either. So while the officer waits for that call back, he ticks the basic like missing person boxes, like checks the hospitals, enters her information into their system, enters her car information into their system, into like their state database. But during the next couple of days, it doesn't sound like much else happens on law enforcement's end. Although I know that a cop does go by Jonathan's to speak with him at least once. Maybe they were thinking that Lisbeth would come back on her own. I don't know. But her family isn't going to just sit around and wait. They, along with Jonathan, start driving around, looking every place they can think of for her or her car. They check beaches, train stations, motels, everywhere and anywhere they can think of. And all the while, they can't help but notice that Jonathan still doesn't seem very worried. And that
no, he killed her.
Up Yaneth and Albino's suspicions. He was the last person to see her. If he doesn't know where she is, then who does? Every possible scenario is running through their heads, each one worse than the last at this point.
And were they close with Jonathan before this? Like, is this kind of, I guess I'm trying to figure out, like, is this in line with what they know about him? Like, do they have like any sort of context?
That's a good question.
I don't know if you could call them close. I mean, they weren't all best friends, but I mean, in the beginning, everyone liked him. He and Yaneth hung out because of Lisbeth. Like, he seemed respectful, responsible. He was working 2 jobs.
His baby daddy.
He had the one at UPS. He had another one at a local Italian eatery.
There you go.
But Yaneth has seen, or at least she's had exposure to his manipulative side over the years. So I think their like perception of him changed a little bit. Like, he would barely help with Astrid, but the minute Lisbeth tried to pull away, he would use her, Astrid, as like a ploy to reel her back in. And even during the like good times, Yaneth noticed Lisbeth never seemed truly happy with Jonathan. There was always like a missing spark. But even with everything she knew, including their recent physical fight, Yaneth said that she never imagined that her sister might be in real danger around him. But now that is all changed. So by Sunday, July 5th, Albino and Yaneth decide to conduct their own search. So while Jonathan is at work, they head to St. Andrew Avenue where he and Lisbeth live. Their duplex is at the end of this dead-end road right next to an elementary school. Now, Lisbeth and Jonathan are on the bottom floor, and their landlord lives upstairs. So that's actually where they start. And the landlord tells them that he didn't hear anything unusual that night that she disappeared or in the early morning hours. No commotion, no loud noises. But he does remember something strange. He says that Lisbeth's white Lexus was parked in the driveway for a while on the morning of July 1st. In fact, his wife had to ask Jonathan to move the car just after 11 a.m. because it was blocking her in. And this was so odd because Jonathan and Lisbeth always parked on the street. They never parked in the driveway.
Well, and I thought he said her car was gone when he got home.
Bingo. He did say her car was gone when he got home, which is just more confirmation that they're on the right track.
Exactly.
They need proof, solid proof, like video footage. Now, the landlord doesn't have any, and as they visit neighbors, they are told again and again that cameras they have don't work, or they won't let strangers just look through their video. So just as they're ready to give up, Yaneth tries one last house down the street from Lisbeth's apartment. And this resident agrees to let her check her camera that was working. And that is when they see it. Lisbeth's so-called missing Lexus going up and down the street twice on July 1st. Once at 5:51 p.m. and once again at 8:22 p.m. And none other than Jonathan is behind the wheel.
Wow.
So the moment Yaneth sees that video, I mean, her blood runs cold. And in that moment, just then, guess who drives by? Jonathan is pulling up onto the street, which is like perfect timing, and they're not going to play coy. Like, they have proof now
Yep.
that he is lying to them. So they walk right over and confront him. And at first, it's like more of the same. Like, oh, she must have run off with some guy. He has no idea where she is. And then he switches it up and he's like, okay, listen, I know she's okay, but I can't tell you what she's doing.
What?
She has to be the one to share that. It's not mine to share. And then he changes it again. And he's like, okay, fine. I'll tell you the truth. The truth. Now he claims that Lisbeth went to Mexico. Now, since she's undocumented, he says that her plan was to marry someone to, quote unquote, fix her papers. But thanks to the missing persons report that they filed, now she's stuck at the border. And the only way he says that they can help her is by retracting that missing persons report and telling police that she's not actually missing.
Hold up.
He lying.
She went to Mexico
Lying.
to marry someone to get her U.S. immigration papers in order?
That don't make sense.
It doesn't make sense.
And now she's supposedly stuck in Mexico.
How you
He
go
wanted to undo the missing report.
How you go to Mexico to marry somebody to get your papers in the U.S.? How you marry somebody in another country to get papers in another country? That don't make no sense. And why not just marry dude? His buddy that work at UPS, he not legal? How come she can't just marry him? Papers.
Probably. I don't know. I think he's trying to change the narrative that
Changing the story all the
she's
time.
using someone else to do, that she has her own agenda.
He's guilty.
Really have no, I don't know what he's saying. I don't know if he's saying she's in America. I don't know if she's saying that she's in Mexico. I don't know.
But he's been lying to everyone about this because
he says that he didn't know how to break the news to Albino that his daughter ran off to Mexico. Like, he was just so worried about Albino's feelings.
Okay, none of this BS even explains the car, though.
Exactly.
If you're gonna tell us a story, tell us a whole story, Jonathan.
Yeah,
exactly.
According to him, she did take her car at first, but then she came back because she'd forgotten something. And then she needed to go meet this guy. So he says that he drove her somewhere.
And where is her car now?
Dude, I don't know. The mouth wants to explode. It doesn't make sense, and she wants to demand that he sit down and actually tell them everything. But by now, she's seeing a pattern. If she can stay calm, if she can just let Jonathan talk, every time he does reveal something new, even if each detail contradicts the last, and even if it all feels
He's
like
telling on
lies,
himself, though.
Feel like we're getting
he knows more than he did earlier.
So she plays along, okay, look, you're the only one who can help us find the car. Just tell us where it is. And he starts naming a dozen different spots. It's in a garage. It's by a beach. It's under a tree.
He's making up places.
Finally, he levels with them. It is actually parked on the street near his relative's house in nearby New Haven.
Oh, hell no. They got their own ads.
Of the same tree. One sister goes.
That's her other show.
The other will.
The other show? She got another show? How many shows she got? 2 shows?
Of the whole.
Damn.
As East Haven Captain Joseph Murgo told us, when investigators.
Who is that? Okay, I'll pause it. We're gonna pause it real quick, chat, because you got the kids here. They be yelling, arguing, fighting. Raising boys is tough. Ooh, all right, chat. Where we at? We have 38 followers. We got 24 days to go, chat. 24 days to go. I am hyped, chat. I am hyped because anything is possible. The goal is 1,000. The goal is 1,000 followers across all platforms for Twitch and YouTube. It's feasible. We have 24 days to go. It's feasible. Okay, we have already 38. We have 38. Somebody you try to do that off the top of your head. Sometimes your brain fall off. 1,000 minus 38. We need 962 more followers in 24 days. Okay, if we average that out, that's about 40 followers a day. Okay, now it sounds crazy. But with hard work, consistency, dedication, it's possible. Anything is possible. Anything you do is possible. On a serious note, anything you do is possible. We believe in ourselves. Anything is possible. So we hope that we meet this goal. Okay, everybody that's joining in with us right now, we're glad you guys are here. We're glad you guys are joining in. We're doing a couple things. Wifey had to go check on the kids. You know, we got the boys. We always got the boys. You know, we try to do the stream with the boys. So thank you guys for being patient with us because, you know, sometimes my oldest son might put my youngest son in the headlock, or my youngest son might give a little, you feel me, elbow or uppercut to my oldest son, knock him out real quick. So we good though now. You know what I'm saying? She gonna check on him. We good. We figuring out all the pieces. 38 followers. 38 followers. Okay, we are almost there. 962 more followers. Once we get there, you know, we're working out like kinks. We're getting better at streaming day by day. You know, working on eye contact. Today, my wife was like, you know, we got to make more eye contact with the camera. We got to talk to them. We got to talk to them. You know, you just got to let them know. And so we're here. We appreciate you guys for joining in. Everybody joining in right now. We appreciate you on Twitch, on YouTube, on Kick. Everybody joining in right now. We appreciate you. I appreciate you guys so much. We're gonna get right back into the crime junkies. After the crime junkies, once we finish this, then we're gonna go head over. Then we're gonna head over to some questions that came in, some relationship advice. We'll dive deeper. I got a couple more videos that we can react to. If y'all got any reaction videos, you know, send them in. Just make sure they're appropriate. Don't have me reacting to, you know what I'm saying? Some of the reaction videos that it just wasn't appropriate. I think I got kids in here sometimes. It just wasn't appropriate. Okay, so we appreciate y'all. You know what I'm saying? We had 38 followers. Let's tap in. Let's see where we at. Let's see where we at. Let's see where we at. You know what I'm saying? We get here. We're doing good. We're doing good. You know what I'm saying? So far, we've been streaming for 43 minutes. 43 minutes. We're going good. You know, and day by day, we're going to get better. Day by day, we're going to get better. We're going to continue to strive after our goals. You know, goals will be met. In order for goals to be met, though, we got to write them down. We got to write them down. You got to see it. You got to visualize. You have to visualize the plan. First, you have to come up with a plan. First, you have to visualize the plan. Then you got to come up with it. Right? As you're visualizing it, you're coming up with it. You're writing it down. Write down your plan. As soon as you write down your plan, put your plan into action. Don't wait. Okay, do not let fear build up and thinking, oh, is the plan that I'm putting into action, is it actually going to work? Once you start going back and forth on the plan that you came up with, it's not going to work because now you're doubting it. Okay, no one's going to believe in you like yourself. Once you start doubting your plan, right, then the plan's just going to fail right off the bat. It failed before you even started because you already had doubt. You have to go in fully confident. And if the plan doesn't work out, if the idea doesn't work out, come up with another one. There's always tomorrow. We think that because we come up with a plan, that first plan has to be it. No, have a plan A. Go with plan A, right? Don't even create a plan B. Go with plan A. If plan A doesn't work, come up with another plan A. Go with plan A again. I'm just breaking it down to them how we have this plan to meet this goal of 1,000 followers and how it's possible. I just did the average right now. We got 24 days left. You know, it sounds extreme, but that's 40 followers a day. That's pretty extreme. You know, however, it's possible. And I'm done. No, don't doubt yourself. So every day for the next 24 days, I'm going to be locked in telling myself, this is going to happen. This is going to happen. This is plan A. This is plan A. And if it, God forbid, but if it doesn't happen, I'm not going to think that way. But if it doesn't happen, I create another plan A, right? Mm-hmm. Same goal and make sure that goal is met. And you just keep attacking that way. You don't give up. You know what I'm saying? Keep it simple, baby.
Well, you got 3 followers in the last 2 days?
Yeah, we got 3 followers in the last 2 days. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? We working. We building a community here. We making sure everybody is welcome. We make sure everybody's in tune on our story and what we're doing, what we're trying to build. You know, and that's the best thing. That's the best thing about it, baby. That's the best thing about it, baby. Okay, so I'm really interested into seeing.
So do you like this?
I like it. I like it. I like it. It's interesting.
Okay.
It's very interesting. I'm interested into seeing like where this go or how it's gonna end. Mm-hmm. You know, I'm kind of tied in between. I'm kind of tied in between exactly who did what and when it happened because at the moment the baby daddy looked guilty.
At the moment.
At the moment, the baby daddy looks completely guilty. Mm-hmm. He's coming up with all these stories. I don't know this, that. You know, the car was over here, but it's at the beach. Oh, she left at this time, but she didn't leave. You know, his story is a mess.
She's with another man.
She's with another man. He want to sign over custody. He don't even want the daughter no more. You know what I'm saying? He's all over the place right now. But we really don't know what happened. He could actually be covering for this woman who took off somewhere. You never know. Or they could be in cahoots together and they finna scam everybody and take off together somewhere. Yeah. You don't know.
Leave their daughter behind.
Leave their daughter behind.
Hopefully not, but I
you know what I'm saying?
We'll see.
We'll find out. We're gonna find out right here.
He does look guilty though.
Hella guilty.
Pull up to this house on Monday, July 6th. They are stunned because right there, a mile from Jonathan and Lisbeth's apartment, is Lisbeth's supposedly missing Lexus. They have a lot of questions for Jonathan's relative, the person whose house this is by. But this person says Jonathan never mentioned that he was leaving the car there. He just dropped it off a few days ago. And when this guy, his name's Carlos, when he asked Jonathan why, Jonathan claimed that he couldn't fit the Lexus at home because he was already working on a few cars and he didn't have room in the yard for it. But like, hi, it's a lie. Police know that's a lie because when they'd been by to speak with him before, there were no other cars in the yard. Now, Carlos may be cooperating,
Jonathan just be
but
lying.
it's not like he's totally on their team. Because again, like this is his cousin. And guess who Carlos called at some point? Like while the officers are still on the scene, Jonathan rolls up. Totally unannounced to just like help fill in some of the gaps, you know, make sure they have like the right narrative.
Oh my God.
And Jonathan,
Carlos is the neighbor.
Carlos is the neighbor, so Jonathan pulled up to the neighbor's house. All the police are talking to him. He looked guilty again. He just keep making himself look guilty.
Admits he is the one who drove the Lexus there on Thursday, July 2nd, and that he lied about it being missing. And he claims that he was embarrassed that Lisbeth had left him to go to Mexico to start this new life. So yeah, he knows that he's lied about the car. He knows that it looks bad, but he's like, it doesn't really change anything. Not really, because the bottom line, he says, is that she left on her own and she's totally fine.
Yeah.
Police tow the Lexus to headquarters, and the next day they do an emergency ping on that 727 number, the one that was texting them saying Lisbeth, which, by the way, like so weird, no one's called them back. And oh, super weird. It's not a number that is registered to a specific person, like a landline or cell phone would be, like something where you would go through a provider. No, this is registered to a pinger, which is one of those apps that lets you basically get a free phone number.
Yep.
But like any level of pseudo stealthness ends here because the account is registered to Jonathan with the email address Jonathan Jera 2020. His full name is Jonathan Jera Acupina, by the way. So like real brilliant here.
Yeah.
So they decide it's time to look.
This fool put his email address and his name attached to the burner phone number that texted them about her being gone.
He probably doesn't have knowledge that if you get a phone number like WhatsApp or like, you know, like that.
Yeah. Then your name and your email connect. He signed up with
that.
His
It's
email.
not connected. He probably thinks it's not connected because he's not like tech savvy that way. You know, a lot of people don't know that. You know, like say you get an iPhone. If you get an iPhone and you download an app that allows you to get a phone number, the person might or might not assume that it's going to tie to their iCloud Gmail necessarily, because if you're getting off an app that is completely separate off of your phone, you know,
of course,
which is why they had to ping it, you know.
Absolutely, I'm just saying.
I'm pretty sure that's what he did.
Is dumb. That was dumb. Like that's the first thing you think of. Some of these criminals, they'll commit like, you know, third capital murder, run up, murder 8 people, and how they find you? Oh, my email address was attached to my burner phone. I forgot to use a different email. Like that was the only way. Goofy boy. Shouldn't commit crimes.
Last place Lisbeth was known to be, which is the apartment. And Jonathan agrees to let them take a look around. He even hands over his and Lisbeth's phones along with her laptop. He also goes to the station for another interview. And this time around, he refers to Lisbeth as his ex-wife.
Oh.
Yeah, and he says that he knew she wasn't happy. He knew she wanted to leave him. She'd been struggling with depression, he says, and they've been having problems. And he admits that he had been unfaithful, but says that she was also seeing other men. And in fact, they had discussed the possibility of having an open relationship at some point. And she mentioned, he says, wanting to visit various guys in Mexico. And he says that their daughter even told him that Lisbeth wanted to marry someone else. But he swears he never laid a hand on Lisbeth, despite what her family might think. And actually, he claims she was the one who got physical during that fight a few months back, that she hit him, and that's how she hurt her arm and hand.
Wow. Okay.
And what does he have to say about that 727 number?
I mean, he's shocked. He's totally stunned. He had no idea like how it's even possible. Maybe someone set it up under his name using an old email address that was his, which like, I don't know if they were able to subpoena the records before talking to him, but like old email might ask. It's it's 2020 in it. Yeah, like you're telling me Jonathan Jera 2020 was not from 2020. Like, okay, my God. But it gets even better, or like, I mean, honestly, it gets even worse because over the next few days, he keeps denying any connection to that number, even after police discover that it was last used from an IP address that matches his home Wi-Fi.
Okay,
Wow.
so now what? She's like
Got his
texting
ass.
everyone from the bathroom that she's hiding in.
He doesn't, again,
Yeah.
he's like, I has no explanation. He just insists it is not him. The only way to break this guy is basically to catch him dead to rights in the lie. So they walk away from that interview to go gather information. They do another search of his house. They get more cell phone records, including from Pinger,
They all up in his
showing that
house.
the account with the 727 number was created at 10:38 a.m. on Friday, July 3rd, which is right after, yes, Albina told Jonathan to meet them so they could go report her missing.
I was gonna say the text came through at 10:40.
I know, and exactly 2 minutes before Yaneth got that first text from Lisbeth. So Captain Murgo and another investigator sit down with Jonathan that Saturday evening, and they are gravely aware that no one has seen or heard from Lisbeth, the real Lisbeth, by this point for 10 days.
Yeah.
And East Haven PD actually gave us a clip of that interview.
We are giving you an opportunity to come clean here.
Hold on. Hold on, with chat. You can't hear this. Huh? Hold on.
We are giving you an opportunity to come clean here. And I see how uncomfortable you are because, quite frankly, sir, you should be. These texts were not from your wife, from somewhere else. These texts originated from within your house. The answer that I need to know is, how does your missing wife text you and her sister from the confines of your home when she allegedly went missing several days before that? And if you can answer that question, then I will let that go.
Now, Jonathan doesn't have a
Crazy. So they got the interview. This man is literally guilty right now. He's in the interview with the police, and they're asking him, how in the world is your wife able to text you from your home and the sister 2-3 days later from when she went missing? And he's sitting there looking like that. Come on, Jose.
Jonathan.
Oh, Jonathan. Yo, what's up?
Hi.
How you doing? Welcome to the chat. How you doing? Can we pronounce that?
Sincere JX.
Sincere JX. I like the way you pronounce Sincere JX. How you doing? Yo, how you doing, Sincere JX? We're just getting it in right now. Going through it. We're going through it. We are here watching some Crime Junkies.
Okay.
My wife got me watching Crime Junkies.
So
Talk to me, baby.
Jose is, you have the names mixed up. Jose is supposedly the man that his girlfriend was seeing.
Yes, I did get the names mixed
That
up.
he said
That's
in
my
the
fault.
beginning.
That's my fault.
His name is Jonathan.
His name is Jonathan.
Okay, so
Jonathan. So yes, Jonathan is guilty. Jonathan sitting in front of police looking guilty.
or that he doesn't.
He has no idea.
Yeah, that he.
Maybe
has no
Jonathan
idea.
has no idea. Maybe there's somebody underneath Jonathan's house right now sending the text.
Maybe it's the girl who used it because she used maybe a burner phone.
Exactly.
With his.
Exactly.
Not thinking anything of it because she just needed a phone. You know, like it wasn't anything to tie. Have any ties to. Oh well. Let's do it because I want them to think he did it.
Yeah.
Just as much as she just wanted to get away and have a phone to use.
Yes, okay, so she wanted to get away. She wanted to have a phone to use, but in order to pin it on him, she set it up all through his email. It's almost like she's pinning it on him. Like she's trying to take him down now.
Not necessarily. I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that yet.
Okay, so we not. Oh, sorry. We not gonna come to complete speculation. We're not gonna speculate too much. How you doing, Sincere? Sincere, how you doing? Thank you for tapping in with us. I hope your weekend went great, Sincere. I hope everything's going great with you, to be honest with you. Thank you for joining in the community. Thank you for joining in the village. Here we like to keep an open mind. Anything you want us to react to, send it in, but make sure it's appropriate, bro, because people have been sending in all crazy stuff. I can't be clicking that, you know what I'm saying? I got the kids. So, you know what I'm saying? We got to keep it nice and rated for us. But yeah, Sincere, I hope you're doing well. You know, I appreciate you for joining us. Please give us that follow, Sincere. I appreciate you. Appreciate you. So yeah, we're gonna get right back into it. As soon as my wife get back, we're gonna watch the rest of this Crime Junkies. Once the Crime Junkies is over, I'm actually a little intrigued in this Crime Junkies. I thought at first it might be like a little corny or something. Like, what are we watching here? I don't understand. Like, but some of these stories are actually pretty good, and especially the relationship ones, because it's like, okay, this is gonna be a corny, whatever. But no, like it's getting pretty good. So I'm actually intrigued to see what happens next. Right after that, then we'll just keep the ball rolling. I know we had some questions that came in. Feel free, anybody in the chat, if you have some like questions as far as relationship or just life hack questions, world opinions. I wouldn't say that me and my wife know everything, but we've been together now for about 10 years, and we've been through some ups and downs. We have 3 kids, so we kind of understand a little bit how life works, and we don't have all the answers. So we would love to hear some of the answers or some of the opinions that you guys have, some of the facts that you guys have, so we can all grow together. This community, this village, this stream is all about all of us growing together. A platform to where we can love each other, not hate on each other, so we can all grow. We can all make some money here. We can all get some knowledge. Wisdom is power. So that's what we're doing here right now. We're at 38 followers across all platforms, which is including Twitch, YouTube, and Kick. It's 24 days to go. We have 34. Our goal is 1,000. If you're in tune right now, please hit that follow button. We appreciate y'all so much. We just got started. We're doing all the episodes. Make sure y'all go to YouTube as well. Married with Kid podcast. You can see all the episodes there. We cut them up, break them down. Here on the stream, we just go crazy. Like, we just kind of attack at everything, and then as it gets later into the night, we're going to go in deep into the episode. So we appreciate y'all for tuning in so far. Tonight is going to be great. It's epic. Please hit that follow. And we got something big coming up too. Once the 1,000 followers hit, right, across all platforms, once the 1,000 followers hit, we do have a surprise for all of our followers. I'm still working that out with my wife. What I'm saying? There's some, NDAs we got to sign. There's some little, what's it called? Some disclaimers that we have to go through in order to be able to do this. You know what I'm saying? Because when we hit 1,000, it's going to be big. So, we got to get a little NDA sign, you know what I'm saying? Little disclaimers. And then we'll be able to share with you guys exactly what we're going to do. I got to make sure I make that eye contact with the camera. My wife's even telling me about that. Make sure you look at the camera. Who you talking to when you're looking down here? You know what I'm saying? I'm talking to y'all. So I appreciate y'all, everybody that's joining right now. I'm saying it's all about energy. It's all about energy. I hope you guys' this weekend has gone well. I hope it continues to go well. I hope you guys start off the week this week great. You know what I'm saying? Wake up and get after it. Don't fall back. Time punch on the gas. It's the beginning of the year. You see a lot of those memes going around of like people that start things in the beginning of the year, and then as January starts to end or February starts to end, it's kind of just like gets put on the back burner. Don't put any of your plans or your goals on the back burner. I know this is the beginning of the year. We enter into the beginning of the year with a lot of fire in our heart. We have a lot of passion. Like, I'm going to get this done. These are my goal. And then once February, March, April starts to roll around, we start to become a little lackadaisical and we start to slow down. Do not be that person that becomes lackadaisical and starts to slow down. Now it's time to punch on the gas. 38 followers. We're almost at 1,000. Well, not really. We're at 3.8%. We need, 962 more. But we're going to get it. We're going to get it. It averages out at about 40 a day. Some people say that's impossible. You sound crazy. But we have a plan, and we're praying the plan is met. And if the plan isn't met, but God forbid, but if the plan isn't met, we put another plan in action and we keep going after it because we don't stop, baby. All right, so I'm intrigued to see exactly how this is going to keep going.
And who's guilty.
And who's guilty.
Yeah. Could be the sister for all we know.
Exactly. It could be the sister. It could be one of them sitting on the couch. We don't even know. Let's see. Let me put this back in. Let's go back into the story. Okay, I'm intrigued. I want to see what happens.
An answer to that. And as he goes through everything he remembers about July 1st, his story changes again. He still claims that her white Lexus was gone when he got home at around 10 a.m. He says that he went inside, looked for Lisbeth, couldn't find her, noticed her passport and purse were missing, and then his daughter pointed out that mommy's phone was still there, so he thought that she might have just gone to the store. But now he's saying he went back outside at this point, and lo and behold, Lisbeth's car is just like there.
What?
What do you think happened? I don't understand.
Hold on, chat. I got you, chat. I'm gonna turn this up a little bit so I can hear. Cause when it gets to this scene, it's kind of hard to hear. I'm gonna turn this up. Okay. Let me rewind it back a little bit. All right.
What do you think happened? I don't understand. I mean, you come, car's missing. 10 minutes you're out, car's there. What do you think happened?
I thought, like I said, we already had this talk
with me and her, she was like, oh, you know what? I want to I want to try something new. I want to do these new things.
No, which is fine because couples go through that all the time.
Mm-hmm.
We just are wondering.
Couples go through that all the time, right? Okay.
About the car, where do you think she went? She walked down the street. She decided to just leave the car and walk down the street.
I thought she was around the house. I didn't thought nothing at that moment. So then I went and checked and she was not there. Then I was like, what are I going to do with the baby? That was my first thought.
Oh, at this point, she had only walked away from the car.
Yeah, no, but like I said, we already had this talk before. Where she, like I said, you know, she's saying, oh, I'm leaving you. One of these days I'm just going to leave.
Police actually have another ace in the hole. They had pulled surveillance footage from the elementary school right next to Jonathan and Lisbeth's apartment, which gives them a clearer view of their road.
Okay.
And the footage from July 1st shows that when Jonathan got home that morning, he parked on the street right behind Lisbeth's white Lexus. And it was there the entire time. The only person moving it around was
Jonathan.
him. And he was doing some more sketchy stuff. He moved it into the driveway for about an hour and then took it over to the school parking lot later that afternoon. And there, in full view of the camera, he pulled out a can of air freshener and is like spraying it all around the trunk. But even with this video evidence, he still won't come clean.
Completely denied.
I believe you're still lying, sir.
Hold on, chat. I got you. They're bouncing back and forth. We don't want to be too loud for y'all.
Spraying air freshener in the
Spraying air
trunk.
freshener in the trunk. This man's crazy. This man is guilty.
Won't come clean.
We believe you're still lying, sir.
I told
We
you.
need you to come clean because this is the only way we're gonna fix this and move forward. Is if you come clean right now. Then I can say to the judge, I can say to court, listen. To be honest, after a nice conversation, you were extremely honest with us. Okay? But there's no way out of this at the moment. I'm sorry. You need to be honest with us right now.
Sir, like I said, nothing happened to Lisbeth.
Then where is she?
I don't know where she does. I'm here for it. That's why you here trying to help me out.
That's a smart
After
answer.
that, Jonathan decides that he wants a lawyer. Interview's over. But investigators know that they're on the right track now. Everyone they talk to says Lisbeth would never leave her daughter, and they confirm that she, of course, didn't go to Mexico. There has been no activity on her passport. So over the next few days...
Hold on. How you doing? Just want to make sure I'm put down. Okay, this is kind of getting a little interesting. I'm on the edge of my
They
seat right
start
now.
piecing together Jonathan's movements through witness interviews, phone records, cell tower data, and surveillance footage from a dozen locations. And they find out that on the night of Tuesday, June 30th, Lisbeth and Jonathan were in an hours-long argument via text. Lisbeth was home while Jonathan was kind of coming and going from the apartment. And what they learned is that at 9:09, he left to run an errand. He's back by 9:17. But instead of going inside, he sat in the car while this text fight continued. And in this, Lisbeth told him it was over, that if he ever saw her and their daughter on the street, he should walk the other way. She was that done. And she told him that the last 10 years had been like a nightmare for her, and she just wanted to forget that he existed. And on his end,
any woman that says something like that, I mean, anybody that, not even a woman, anybody that says something like that, like the last 10 years have just been a nightmare. I just want to get away, so I just completely forget you. And you have a kid with them? And like, not even just like, you've been together, you have a kid, you have all these years. Like, what did you do for someone to say, I just want to forget you? The last 10 years was a nightmare. We've been married for 10 years almost. For you to just be like, the last 10 years was a nightmare, I want to forget you. Don't you think that something got to be terrible?
I think it's probably, it could be a mix of, lack of affection, lack of her feeling loved by him, and all the stories of what the family feels like he may be abusive. Like they don't really know for sure, but at the same time, it could be a lot of things, mixed in with them saying that he cheated on her a couple times, and maybe she just really
It's all built
done.
up.
Yeah.
All built up. Whether
Over the
cheating a
course
couple
of 10
times,
years.
couple
Yeah.
fights, maybe they got physical a little bit over the course of 10 years. It was just too much. And whatever happened recently was a cherry on top for her to be like, I'm out of here.
Mhm.
If I see you, then you better walk the other way.
Yeah.
Text messages is mostly begging her not to leave, saying that he wouldn't walk away if he saw them, like Astrid was their baby. All that time, he was still just outside in the car. And then at 12:50 in the morning, so this is now Wednesday, July 1st, he finally gets out and walks to the house. Now, police can't see him go inside. The school cameras are set in like the rear parking lot facing the street with like trees blocking the house itself. But cell tower data places him in that area for over 2 hours until he is seen on video leaving their house for his UPS shift at 3:18 a.m.
Based on the video, can they tell if he put anything in the car?
No. So because of the camera angle, they can't. But what they're assuming is that he must have gotten Lisbeth in there somehow, mostly because of that like air freshener, in the trunk.
Yeah.
Now, when investigators search the Lexus, cadaver dogs do alert on that exact spot in the trunk. So they are sure that Jonathan killed her, placed her.
What are cadaver dogs?
If I'm not
What'd she say? What?
I'm Googling or you Google?
A cadaver dog? What is it?
Okay, let me Google it, Dylan, because you're too excited.
What did she say? Cadaver dog? They just spelled it wrong there. Cadaver dogs, also known as human remains detection dogs, are specifically trained dogs that use their sense of smell to locate deceased people. So these dogs are literally used and trained to locate dead people.
Cadaver.
How many smells? I think I heard something about this. Like, how many smells does up to 300 million affected noses compared to humans 5 to 6? Dogs have 40 times more smell receptors than humans. But can't you only train a dog on so many smells? Right? 10 odors. 16 to 12 unique senses. A dog can be trained to identify and respond to a range of smells.
That's why they have
bomb dogs, drug dogs. That's why I had that question of like exactly how many dogs that they would be able to do. You lost the remote? Okay. I'm gonna find the remote. Okay, so that's crazy, chat. That's crazy. So they got the cadaver dogs out and they trying to figure out exactly if this dude ended up killing her. And we really don't know. Like we really don't know. If you're just now tuning in, thank you for tuning in. You know, we're in the middle of Crime Junkies. It's almost over. I mean, we're almost there. We're almost there. We're going to find out exactly who did what. Like, is this dude, Jonathan, actually guilty of killing his baby mother, who he says fled to Mexico to marry another guy in order to get papers in the U.S.? Like, the story just doesn't make any sense. Like, it just doesn't add up. And she left him with the baby. Like, it just doesn't add up. So we're literally on the edge of our seats. We have a little bit left to go. And I'm just interested in seeing exactly what's going to happen next before we get into like a conversation. Because I know we have some questions that we're going to ask each other. Our kids are still running around the house. They still up. So I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued. I want to see what happens.
In the trunk, disposed of her. But the problem is he's not talking anymore. And they're still missing the most crucial piece of evidence of all, Lisbeth's body. But as detectives lay out Jonathan's cell tower location points on this map, this clear route starts to emerge. They see that on July 1st, he spent most of the day at home before dropping Astrid off at Yanette's at around 4 p.m. He takes his own car for that, a blue Chevrolet Cruze. But when he gets back home, he took Lisbeth's Lexus out for some errands, including a stop at a local Home Depot, where he bought a shovel.
He looked guilty as hell. Where he bought a shovel? They got this man switching cars, walking out of Home Depot with shovels. The only thing they didn't get was him putting the body in the trunk.
We about to see right now.
Jonathan.
And a hoe.
So part of a murder kit. Got it.
Or a disposal kit, at least. Yeah. So Later that night, after 10, he drove the Lexus a few miles to the restaurant where he works. And
Okay.
surveillance footage from surrounding businesses shows him pulling up to the dumpsters in the back corner of the parking lot. Now, the restaurant, this is interesting, was actually closed because the owner was on vacation. So it was like nice and quiet, not a whole lot of traffic. And of course, Jonathan would know that.
He works there.
Because he works there, exactly. Now, once he's in the parking lot, you can't see what he's doing. But he was there for nearly an hour and a half. And he's on camera visiting that exact same spot again a week later.
I'll pause it. Okay. Go ahead, the baby. You know what I'm saying? Thank y'all for being patient with us. You know, in between times, sometimes the baby be calling. You got the kids here. Like, this is just crazy. You know, this is crazy. Like, let's step back a little bit. Let's reevaluate this situation, because personally, I think that Jonathan is guilty. Jonathan is just guilty. Like, guilty is all outdoors. Like, send Jonathan to jail. He out here. He putting bodies in the back of the trunk. He going to Home Depot to buy shovels and hose. You know what I'm saying? Then driving over to the restaurant of his second job in the parking lot for an hour late at night after we just saw you possibly have a body in the back of your trunk. Like, Jonathan, like, no, bro. Like, you're definitely guilty, bro. Like, you did it. He in front of the police officers talking about, my wife left me. I don't even know why she left me. Bro, lying, bro. Like, straight up. Hey, look, I'm just looking at it right now. For everybody that's tuning in, I appreciate you. We had 38 followers. Our goal is to get to 1,000 in the next 24 days. It does not sound realistic, but we believe heavily in ourselves and we're dedicated to the mission. Again, we're dedicated to the mission. No, we pray that the plan works out. If the plan doesn't work out, you put another plan in place and you continue to attack. You continue to attack. I'm telling you, like, if you're playing video games, you playing Fortnite, PUBG somewhere, like, you continue to attack. You know what I'm saying? You got wasted, you come back to life, and you continue to attack. So I appreciate everybody that's coming in, joining in right now to this stream. If you've missed anything or any of our last videos, please go back. You know, Twitch only keeps it on there for a few days or so. So definitely go to YouTube. If you go to YouTube, check out our YouTube channel, Married with Kids Podcast, and you'll be able to see all the episodes that we have done thus far, going deep detail into our relationship, our personal lives, who we are exactly, to better explain the story. So you're not just watching this like, who are these people commenting on Crime Junkies, giving relationship advice? Like, why do they even matter? Who are these people? Like, they're not famous, they're not celebrities, nothing like that. And we're letting you know, like, yes, first off, at the end of the day, no one's opinion matter but yours. However, we built this platform as a community for all of us to come together, share your opinions, have some fun, watch some Crime Junkies, react to a couple videos, explain where we are at in life and how we can grow together. So, baby, I was explaining to them that we're at 38 followers right now on Twitch and YouTube, and our goal is 1,000, and we're putting that in the plan, and we're getting there. Now, let's go back to this.
It's achievable because our first YouTube channel has 33.8K.
Our first YouTube channel does have 33.8K.
So it's achievable.
It's definitely achievable.
But we're just starting from zero.
Starting from scratch. Easy. Which is actually, this is a side note before we get right back into this Crime Junkie, is that there should be no excuse in growth. Like, there should be no excuse. Starting from zero. For us to be able, like, you know what, we're going to start from zero and we're just going to take off. We're going to do it. We're not going to let anything stop us from reaching our goal or chasing our dreams. Even by having 3 kids, we're not going to let anything stop us from chasing our dreams. We just keep going. We'll start from zero. We'll start from scratch again. Forget it. Let's have fun. It's all about having fun. This is enjoyable.
I think what makes us different is that we're able to reach a certain, like...
I'm listening, baby.
We're able to reach a certain follower count on one platform that we've built, created, and then humbly we're able to be like, well, can you do that again? And can you humble yourselves to be able to put yourself, you know, make yourselves like vulnerable again to say, well, just because you've reached this amount, can you do that again without, you know, maybe being boastful or like...
Yeah, exactly. Showing a lot of humility, you know, really tapping back in. But I mean, no matter where one is at in life, there should always be a sense of humility. Once you lose your sense of humility, then you lost a sense of self. You know, straight up. So, what, you got something in your nose? What happened? You alright?
I'm busy yawning.
We finish this off? We got like 14 minutes left.
So the problem is, by the time police get a search warrant for that area, it's July 15th. We are 2 weeks to the day out from Lisbeth's disappearance. Now, the parking lot is partially fenced in, but in the back of it, where Jonathan was like skulking around, it butts up against this densely wooded area. So investigators like brace themselves for a full-scale search, but they don't actually have to go very far. So right behind the dumpsters, something that catches their eye is this door laying flat on the ground. And when they lift it, they see disturbed dirt beneath. And almost immediately, the cadaver dogs start picking up the scent of decomp. And as they carefully dig, the smell just intensifies. And soon they uncover this bundle wrapped tightly in a blue fleece blanket held together with clear tape. And it has long black hair sticking out from one end. And they know that they have finally found Lisbeth.
Oh my God. Oh my God. So he killed her and then dumped her body behind his job?
Not very smart.
Not very smart at all. But I mean, even the fact that, like, damn, dude, where is your heart at? Gruesome.
Yeah.
You finna go to work every day.
His child's
On smoke break, talk about,
his child.
yeah, my wife
mom.
over there.
His child's mom.
Huh?
His child's mom.
His child's mom. Exactly, his child's mother. He buried behind the dumpster of his job? What's wrong with dude? Some people, you know, that's unexplainable. Some people deal with a lot of mental illness while at the same time going through certain relationships. They make decisions that are just rational decisions, like irrational decisions of, okay, I'm gonna kill her and I'm gonna just dump her body, and then he's making up all these lies on the spot. Like, it wasn't even premeditated at this point. He was just like, fuck yeah, I'm gonna do it. Crazy. Get bad.
Before police even reach Lisbeth's family to notify them of the discovery, Yaneth starts hearing rumors through the media that a body has been found, but she doesn't necessarily know the details. And
so the media, the news media, got the outlet first before they can even go to the family and say, hey, we might have found a body.
I don't know, Dalen. I'm trying to.
No, but listen, that's what just happened. Listen to what she said.
Okay, go back then.
Yeah, listen to what she said.
Even reach Lisbeth's family to notify them of the discovery, Yaneth starts hearing rumors through the media that a body has been found. But
before the police can reach them to let them know about the body, the media already released that a body has been found. But isn't that crazy how that works, though? Yeah. It's like people right on the spot, like there's no respect for the family. Like, I found out through the news.
Yeah.
She doesn't necessarily know the details, and she is still just like clinging.
That's crazy. That's so crazy. That's so crazy. I'm not even on the pip. That's crazy. Let me go back to the pip. I'm sorry, y'all. Sorry, chat. Thank you for letting me know
that it isn't her sister. And even after her father and stepmom show up later that day with detectives and a priest, like warning her to brace herself for what will likely be bad news, she's still holding on. But the next day, investigators show her photos of the victim's tattoos to help with identification. And that awful realization just like hits her. She is never going to see her sister again. And the only thing her family can hope for now is some sort of justice. Now, when she is taken for autopsy, the medical examiner determines that Lisbeth died from homicidal asphyxia. And he also finds non-fatal blunt force injuries from what was likely...
What's homicidal asphyxia?
Asphyxia, with breathing, so she was suffocated.
Oh my God.
In her home.
She's got a bruise on her upper arm and another on her lower back.
And Jonathan
homicidal, as in it happened in the home, so she
so investigators did consider...
has struggled breathing, like she struggled breathing.
Yeah, homicidal asphyxia. Somebody killed her, trying to suffocate her, not like suicidal asphyxia, where like she tried to kill herself and suffocate herself. It was homicide, like Jonathan did it.
Others like Jose, who really was her old high school friend that she was supposedly dating at some point, but with everything pointing to Jonathan, like, come on.
Yeah.
Now, Yaneth expects him to be arrested at any moment. Like, again, come on.
Exactly.
But days pass, and then weeks, and it doesn't happen. He is still a free man. And despite that notarized letter, which, you pointed out, like, doesn't do much, so he still has rights as Astrid's father.
Yep.
So he's able to have supervised visits with her, visits that take place at Albino's house.
So her family has to regularly interact with the person that they're pretty sure killed their sister and their daughter.
Well, not even interact, but like in their own home.
It's gonna be like absolute hell for them.
I feel like it would almost be like you're living in an alternate reality.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
this can't be real.
Yes.
Exactly.
And the only real solace for Yoneth is the overwhelming local support that she receives. Like, she starts working with advocates to raise awareness about her sister's story and about domestic violence as a whole. Now, Jonathan doesn't have any record for abuse against Lisbeth. The fight that they had in May wasn't reported. He does have a felony conviction for assaulting a police officer, which, like, details are sparse on, but according to a Hartford Current article, that
He assaulted a police officer? So that's on his record? He has assaulting a police officer on his record, but they can't do anything for this case because they don't necessarily have enough proof.
They don't have evidence
The body's
pointing
behind.
to.
He drove the car around. He's seen getting stuff out of Home Depot. The body was found behind his job. Like, the phone number that she texted from when she was missing was from his phone, like connected to his name. Like, what else do you need? What's up with the justice system? What's up with the justice system? He's walking around, moseying around the neighborhood. It's already been weeks after they had found the body.
Yeah.
When he was 18 after crashing into a cop on a motorcycle. We don't know of any other incidents. But this is the thing, just because there aren't things on record doesn't mean that they didn't happen.
Exactly.
Like, domestic violence is one of law enforcement's biggest blind spots because many of these incidents never even reach police. And when they do, they rarely get the attention that they deserve. There's actually this study done by the National Library of Medicine that found that Black women and Latina women like Lisbeth are more likely to encounter neglectful or even hostile responses when they seek help. And for Hispanic victims, there are often extra hurdles like language barriers or fear of deportation if they're undocumented, like Lisbeth.
That's so true.
And the longer
That's sad.
her homicide investigation drags on without an arrest, the more speculation there is that her case isn't a priority because of her nationality.
Wow.
But Captain Murgo told us that there was a lot happening behind the scenes that investigators can't share publicly. Like, at the time, they were working with multiple agencies, gathering warrants for more digital data, things like phone records, surveillance footage, and Google searches. Evidence even from the Lexus goes to the FBI lab for testing, including a single blue fiber found in the trunk that ultimately matches the blanket that Lisbeth was wrapped in.
Wow.
And they did an analysis of the air freshener can, and they found that Jonathan could not be eliminated from being a source of the DNA on it. And they also learned that on the afternoon of July 1st, less than 12 hours after he says he last saw Lisbeth in bed, Jonathan was on Facebook Marketplace trying to trade her car for a pickup truck.
What?
Yeah. And in August, they get a new chilling detail from Astrid herself. She tells her family and later an FBI agent that when she woke up that morning and her mom wasn't in bed, she was searching like in the apartment, but for some reason she couldn't get into her own room because the door was locked. And according to her, like, that wasn't a thing. That had never been locked before. And then when her dad got home, he didn't even go look for her mom. Instead, he just started cleaning. Like, that was the first thing he did. The theory, according to Captain Murgo, is that after Jonathan killed Lisbeth, he likely stashed her body in their daughter's bedroom, locked the door so Astrid wouldn't go in when she woke up, and then later he backed the Lexus into the driveway to load Lisbeth's body into the trunk. And in fact, they find out that while it was parked there, Jonathan did nearly 36 web searches on how to fold down the back seats.
I mean, what more do we need?
This fool did a bunch of web searches on how to fold down the back seat so he could fit the body in. That's the Google searches they found. That's crazy. This man Jonathan is sick. That's sick work, dude. That's sick work, dude. Let's see. She have great teepees. I lied.
He's back. That's the dude from last time.
Oh, that's the dude from last time? What's his name? What's up, Sim? You have great teeth. For the rose.
We're going to ignore it and come back.
Hey Sim, make sure you follow. If you haven't followed, make sure you follow. Subscribe to us, whether that is on YouTube. Oh, you already followed?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we appreciate that, Sim. We appreciate you. We're gonna keep going in. We got crime junkies popping in here. Tune in, Sim. We appreciate you. Thank you.
Need here, people. I mean, arrest this guy already.
And listen, it isn't the police. Like, they agree with you. But I guess the state's attorney's office didn't, because as detectives share their findings with them, they keep hearing, like, you're close, but, like, go back. Get more, chase down more leads, verify additional details. In the time that they kept getting sent back, they worried that Jonathan was going to skip town. So they actually put him under surveillance. Because you see, even though he lived in the US since childhood and can legally work here, he was still an Ecuadorian citizen. And at the time, Ecuador had a strict ban on extraditing its citizens to the US. So if he made it back there, he would almost be untouchable.
Yeah.
But when they ended up putting eyes on him, they were surprised to find that he wasn't running, like, far from it. He was just going about his life as if nothing had happened.
So he thinks he's in the clear.
That's what he believed, yeah. The good news is, he is wrong. On Sunday, December 27th, police have Albino set up a meeting with Jonathan at a diner in New Haven.
Okay.
And Jonathan thinks that he is going to see his daughter at this meeting, but instead, this is when he is finally arrested for the murder of Lisbeth. And for
Got your ass.
He put on some weight.
He definitely put on some weight. It's stress eating.
And for Lisbeth's family, it is a huge relief. Like, no more sharing Astrid with the man who took her mother from Astrid and all of them. But that relief is short-lived, because now they face an entirely new battle, which is the legal system. So Jonathan pleads not guilty, and he is sent to jail on a $2 million bond to await trial. But according to community organizer Vanessa Suarez, who has been supporting Lisbeth's family, prosecutors aren't exactly confident taking this to a jury still. Like, they even consider at some point reducing the charge to voluntary manslaughter, because they're worried that they might not be able to make that murder charge stick.
Why?
Yeah, I know.
What more do they need?
They got everything.
An eyewitness, I think. I think they want a confession, something that isn't circumstantial, I guess.
They can't really, camera footage.
Yeah, they can't
fibers. Like,
yeah, like, to me, the camera footage is almost better than an eyewitness. Like, you don't have to worry about memories, like, getting misinterpreted from actual footage. Then you have cadaver dogs hitting in the trunk. I mean,
and your DNA on, like, the air freshener.
Yeah, you got everything. You got everything.
Like, you have him lying about her car. You have him pretending to be her over text messages. Like, there's so much that's there. Like, what's actually happening?
I'm with you. Like, believe me. But from the prosecutor's perspective, like, taking it to trial, it's always a risk, right?
Yes,
like,
but this seems like not as much of a risk.
So they end up going back and forth with the defense. They're, like, debating possible deals. But through this whole time, like, Lisbeth's family is firm. They're like, anything less than a murder charge would diminish what happened to Lisbeth.
Yeah.
And they're not willing to accept that. So the long and the short of it is that with delays from COVID and all the negotiations, it is not until February of 2024 that both sides reach an agreement. Facing 60 years in prison, Jonathan pleads guilty to murder, and in exchange, he is sentenced to 25 years with immediate deportation once his time is served.
What?
Now, for Lisbeth's family, 25 years is grossly inadequate as a punishment. They, along with advocates like Vanessa, have been very...
Are you serious? They only gave this man 25 years for murdering his baby mama, and then after your 25 years is up, you can go back to the country you came from?
That sounds like a vacation.
He finna go on vacation.
And find a new...
about the larger issue that her murder brings to light.
Yeah.
Vanessa told us, like, too often when women go missing or are found dead, they don't get the urgency or attention that they deserve.
Mm.
And while there's a huge pressure on victims to report abuse, society needs to step up and create better systems of support for cases of gendered violence. We know how widespread this issue is. According to the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime, an estimated 47,000 women and girls worldwide were killed by an intimate partner or family member in 2020 alone. And that is an average, when you think about it, of 1 every 11 minutes.
1 every 11 minutes.
And that was
A woman.
that was the rise because that was during COVID, and everybody was in the house. Everyone was in the house. Domestic abuse
right.
rose because everybody was
In the house. That's right. Thank y'all for being patient with us. You know, the baby just waking up.
and Google
your phone.
For this, like, is this kind of? I guess I'm trying to figure out, like, is this in line with what they know about him? Like, do they have like any sort of context?
That's a good question.
I don't know if you could call them close. I mean, they
Get papers in the elevator. That don't make no sense.
US?
And why not just marry dude? His buddy that work at UPS, he not legal? How come she can't just marry him? Papers.
Probably. I don't know. I think he's trying to change the narrative that
Changing the story all the
she's
time.
using someone else to do, that she has
Guilty.
her own agenda.
He's guilty.
really have no, like, I don't know what he's saying. I don't know if he's saying she's in America. I don't know if she's saying that she's in Mexico. I don't know.
But he's been lying to everyone about this because
he says that he didn't know how to break the news to Albino that his daughter ran off to Mexico. Like, he was just so worried about Albino's feelings.
Okay, none of this BS even explains the car.
He was just so worried about Albino's feelings. For another interview. And this time around, he refers to Lisbeth as his ex-wife.
Oh.
Yeah, and he says that he knew she wasn't happy. He
needed a phone. You know? Like, it wasn't anything to tie, have any ties to, oh, well, let's do it because I want them to think he did it, just as much as she just wanted to get away and have a phone to use.
Yes, okay, so she wanted to get away. She wanted to have a phone to use, but in order to pin it on him, she set it up all through his email. It's almost like she's pinning it on him. Like, she's trying to take him down now.
Not necessarily. I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that yet.
Okay, so
Pause.
we not.
Oh, sorry.
We Okay, thank y'all for being patient with us. We back. We back, baby. So we got the kids. Thank y'all for being patient with us. But we inside, so what that got to do with us?
The walls are literally rattling. The windows are rattling. Air's trying to come in. That's why. That's what it got to do with us.
We are at 38 followers. We are trying to get to one. No, we are. Shouldn't say trying. We need to use different lingo. We are going to get to 1,000. And the next, I got stuff playing. 38 followers. Listen back to my self-talk. Sorry about that, chat. We're at 38 followers. Okay, I appreciate everybody that has been tapping in so far. We appreciate you so much. We're at 38 across all platforms: Twitch, YouTube. If you could just please, Twitch, YouTube, Kate. So if you could just please give us a follow. Our goal is by the next 24 days to reach 1,000 followers, and we can't do it without you guys. That sounds corny. We can't do it without you, but seriously, we need y'all. We're building a community here. If you're joining in the chat, it's a great community to be in. It's all about building each other up, growing in knowledge, wisdom. How can we gain some knowledge, gain some understanding, and take it back to our villages and build up our communities? That's what we're all about. So thank y'all for tuning in. You want to finish this off? We're going to finish this Crime Junkie because I really want to see exactly what's going on. Y'all still with me, chat? Y'all think Jonathan guilty?
Yes.
Y'all think Jonathan? I mean, like they already sent him to jail, so it's pretty much like it's good. It's good. It's over.
Yeah.
He's going to jail. It's
but
over with.
His sentence is just not.
His sentence ain't it? I mean, 25. I mean,
opposed to 60 because he was able to get 25 instead of 60.
Yeah. How do you reduce so much time?
By admitting, not changing his plea to guilty.
So he changed his plea to guilty.
He pled not guilty,
and then guilty at first. Then he said, "Okay, I am guilty." So they reduced his time to 25 years, and then say you can go back to your own country once the 25 years is up. They don't make no sense. I feel like that's too easy.
They don't want him here because they are trying to kill two birds with one stone. He's a criminal, and he also is from another country, and they're trying to send him back.
Send him back. He came over here. He caused a lot of problems. He killed some people. Send him back. I mean, I understand that, but I mean, you got people that kill people. They in there for life, or they get the death sentence. Like, I'm not saying that I'm an advocate for people to get life or the death sentence, but I mean, 25, and then here you go back to your own country after that. Like, that's free. Like, that doesn't even go on his record. He goes to another country. Does that even go on his record? Like, it restarts? Like, he gets a whole refresh?
I don't think it goes on his record because
he's in a new country.
Yeah.
So he gets a whole new start of life. There's people in the U.S. right now that commit lesser crimes. And then it's on the record for the rest of their life to where they can't even get a job. But this man can just go to another country, all good? Like, that doesn't make no sense.
Yeah.
According to the United Nations Office on Drug and Crime, an estimated 47,000 women and girls worldwide were killed by an intimate partner or family member in 2020 alone. You said that was during the COVID time, and that actually sparked my mind. You're absolutely right. More couples were in the home together.
And people predicted that was going to happen because domestic DV cases are already at an ultimate high as is, but then when you combine like everyone having to quarantine, that just like skyrocketed the numbers because now women and girls were more susceptible to the domestic violence being in their homes because now everyone is on this, like everybody's on edge because of the whole like pandemic.
And everybody's in the home. Like, people that you wouldn't necessarily see for that many hours of the day, you're now seeing. Like, you usually would be at work at school, but they're not. So you have a lot of women and children that are being now abused during COVID. You know what's crazy? When you had said that and it made me think of COVID, we did this thing when I was in a high school, at Cypress High School, and this is a fact. During that time, I think the number still might be the same, and you guys can still see this, correct? Okay, great. So, it is a percentage of people dying from a drug related accident. Right, so 32%. Have you heard of every 15 minutes?
Yeah.
Okay, so weed is that every 15 minutes drunk driving, right? And so every 15 minutes they say that someone dies from a drinking related accident, right? So it's crazy to me that in 2020 alone, more women were killed from domestic violence than there was drinking related accidents. Which, I mean, I get it. Like, I'm not saying that like one should be overweigh the other, but it's just crazy at the rate that women or children or just intimate partners, it doesn't necessarily, women and girls worldwide were killed by an intimate partner from, okay, so it's just
not even
crazy to
domestic
me.
violence, killed.
Just killed. Yeah, no violence, like just straight up killed. That's more than there was drunk related. Like every 15 minutes. That's crazy to me.
Yeah.
The shift that we see in humanity when it comes to putting us under pressure in survival mode or situations to where now we all have to stay in the home and things like this start to happen, like the animals start to come out. Animals, like we are really seeing the animalistic qualities that we have as humans, to where when you keep us inside the house hours upon hours with, it doesn't even matter if they're a family member, with people that we love and that we are drawn to, we keep them in the house with us for hours and hours and hours, and we're not used to being in the house with them for so many hours. Now you have incidents like this happening frequently. 1 every 11 minutes in 2020, women and girls worldwide were killed by an intimate partner or family member. That is ridiculous, America. I mean, I'm at a loss for words. I can't believe that statistic is. That is amazing. Of how many people were killed in 2020. You're telling me during COVID, so you're telling me that during a pandemic, statistics like this were at an all-time high. We're gonna have to do a video. It may not be tonight, but we're gonna have to do a video on some of the statistics that just skyrocket during the time of the pandemic. I mean, with this one alone, the fact that this just skyrocketed during the time of the pandemic, I'm letting them know I want to do a video, and maybe we'll do it here soon. It won't be tonight, on some of the statistics that just skyrocketed during the pandemic. Obviously, this is one of them, on women and girls worldwide who were killed by the instrument. So what is another one? So we're gonna go down that rabbit hole. It won't be tonight, but we will definitely go down that rabbit hole and see exactly what is going on. I mean, geez, that is wild. Okay, let's finish it off. We have 2 minutes left. 2 minutes.
So, like, to put it in perspective, by the time our crime junkies finish this episode, approximately 4 women and girls will have lost their lives.
That's almost impossible to wrap your head around.
I know, but there are lessons to be learned from every tragedy. And that's actually why Captain Murgo reached out to us, hoping that we would share Lisbeth's story. He believes that it shows how real the dangers of intimate partner violence can be, and the lengths that abusers will go to manipulate and to control even after death.
Which is why cases like this have to be taken so seriously from the very beginning.
From the beginning, yeah,
Exactly.
I mean, it took an all-hands approach. I mean, Lisbeth's family pushing for answers, diligent police work, and technology like digital forensic evidence and surveillance footage, all of it to finally reveal the truth, like piece by piece. But not every victim has loved ones that are determined to fight for justice or have the ability to. Like,
That's
not
so
every
true.
department is willing or able to go deeper. Too often, these stories end before they ever begin. And no one should have to face abuse alone. Help is available, and we've included resources in our show notes if you or someone you know needs support. And please make sure to take any signs of abuse seriously, no matter how small they might seem. I mean, it can be so hard to see the full picture, especially when you love someone and you want to believe that things will get better. But if you are in an abusive relationship, the focus should be on your safety and your well-being rather than waiting for or like betting on the abuser to change. Because sometimes the risk is greater than anyone could have ever imagined. You can
Exactly.
go to our website for all of the source material for
Yeah.
this.
Wow.
So what I have to say about that is
That is crazy.
what she said about it going unreported and you having family members who might not really go the furthest extent of trying to seek justice.
Yes.
That's the part that is sadly a factor because of the fact that one, if you have like a woman who runs to her family and tells her family, okay, I'm being abused by the person that I'm with.
Yes.
And the family has their biased opinion of, oh, well, we love you, we care about you, you should leave him, you deserve better.
Yes.
And she runs back to that relationship and she continuously suffers from the abuse. And she runs and tells her family again, like, I love him, I can't leave him, or that she wants to leave him and she's tried, or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
That, but she still is with him. then the family tends to kind of like like brush brush her off a little bit more because of the fact that they are so stuck to their own biases that they're so stuck on like, oh well, we told you not to be with this person, you deserve more, how much more can we tell you? And then
Exactly.
the person who the victim is suffering still from the abuse, but is also slowly being like not taken seriously.
Which I mean,
Which
and
I think that has a that's
a
probably
lot to
the
do with it.
number one reason that a lot of them go unreported because they're being told constantly, like, you know, if you're being abused, then just leave, you know?
And it's hard for people to just leave, which is understandable. I think we have to see both sides of the coin. And I'm not trying to play devil's advocate here, but again, I am. Like, that is difficult if you are that family member and you're saying, well, then leave this person. And then you see that that person decides to stay. Then it's like, how much more involved do you get as a family member? Because you don't want to get in between their relationship. You get in between that domestic violence relationship, you'll end up on the wrong side of the coin and they both now attacking you. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't want to, respectfully, like, you don't want to get too involved in someone's situation. However, at the same time, it's like you have to find that equal balance of when should I step in and be like, hey, do you need serious help? You know? And I think we have to do that more often. You know, even if someone's like, "Oh no, I'm fine." Like, if you can tell when your best friend, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
me and you, we can tell when each other isn't fine, or your best friend or cousin. You can tell when they're not fine. So it's like there has to be that equal middle ground of that family member looking out for them, and at the same time, the person who is being abused, which is easier said than done, hopefully working up the courage to say, hey, I need some help. Like, can you help me get out of the situation? You know, and it's best to always speak up.
Yeah, I think that's the thing that it's like two things. Like, one, the person, more than likely doesn't want to feel like a burden to everyone because once release that load on everyone that, oh, this is what I'm going through, then especially like if you tell the people you care
Okay.
about that you're going through something, you may not want them to worry about you. And, when you weren't going to say anything about the abuse anyway, right?
Yeah.
And then to top it off, when like stories like this where the person goes missing, there's not much that anyone, even her sister, could be like, oh, well, you know what? I know what happened, or like she's been telling me that, you know, there were any signs of her being abused or any signs of him wanting to hurt her, that she probably kept a lot from her sister because she didn't want to tell her the full, because
Full story.
herself, she probably didn't even know that he was capable of actually killing her.
Exactly. I mean, at that point in time, too, like looking at that story, you really don't know if someone is capable to follow
Till
through
they do
with a
it.
murder like that until they do it.
Till they do it.
Yeah,
And
like
to,
no one is what is it? I'm trying to find the right word, but like everyone is guilty.
innocent
You're guilty, yeah.
innocent until proven
Okay,
guilty.
yeah, innocent until proven guilty,
That's why they did the whole runaround.
which is true, right? But I mean, for them to go 4 years to pin this murder on this guy is pretty crazy when you've had all that evidence. Like, I get that you have to gather more information, and there's other cases that they're working on, but this kind of also goes to show a lot of the inconsistencies inside of the justice system, which we've already known, but there are so many inconsistencies. Like, why does it take someone so long to get convicted of something that they clearly did? The family wants justice. Or two, why is it that bruh gets caught up for this and only has to do 25 years and he can go back and live a whole normal life? Like, he doesn't even look that old, obviously. So he'll probably be, what, maybe in his 60s, 50s when he gets out? Like, he's still got a whole life to live.
Yeah. Another thing is what makes it a little bit more like they kept saying circumstantial. It's they couldn't convict him because it was all based off of circumstantial evidence that shows that he was driving the car back and forth. He was actually there at the house when she was last, seen. That's
Yeah.
what makes it hard because it's not like police can put cameras up in your house and be like, well, I have proof of what really went of what really went down, because nobody knows what really goes on
Yeah.
in your, you know,
No
in
one
your
knows what goes
household.
on in your household.
And
They have to gather all this information, which
that's
is
what makes
completely
it
true.
hard, because
Completely true.
if only you, like, you know, like if only you and your partner are there,
Yes.
only whoever speaks and like releases that information is the
Yes.
only like outlet for anything to get out. So if, you know, your family's trying to figure out what's going on, especially when they don't know everything, then that's when it gets all messy to try to figure out like who really did what and what's really going on, because you know, you don't really know what's going on behind closed doors.
Absolutely not. You
So
don't know
that's why,
what couple is facing, you know, who's being even, you know, where the domestic violence is even lying, who's being attacked. You really
yeah.
don't know. You know, it can even be the closest person to you, which is
Mm-hmm.
why it's good to have these type of conversations, the community that we're building right now, to be able to give a safe space for people to speak out. I mean, there's a reason why at the end of in the beginning of our intro video and our outro video, while we have numbers and hotlines for people that are even thinking about suicide or domestic violence, you need help with food, clothes, you can't take care of your kids. Like, it really does take a community in order to fix the inconsistencies of people going hungry, the justice system. Like, if they're not going to do it, then we're going to have to do it ourselves. And that's just what it is. Like, there is becoming more power to the people in a way to where we need to take advantage of this. Okay, if we're not going to be able to have the type of justice that we want, then we can come together and, like how they did, have story clippings of it, get it on Crime Junkie, so then now we're more aware of what's going on in the justice system.
yeah.
I didn't know it was like that, to where someone commit a crime like that, they get a 25 years and I go back to my country. What?
That was a special case for him because he was Ecuadorian.
Yes, and they had that where they're extraditing
at
people,
the time,
which I completely
those
get
were
that.
the rules for him, because if he's convicted of anything, then he belongs to someone else.
Which
He
is,
belongs to his country.
yes, but it's like, okay, then I could just go over to this country, commit a couple crimes. Well, I go to jail for a little bit. They're just gonna send me back. I'm not gonna have a record. Like, I might as well just come here and commit all my crimes anyway.
That's why.
And that's happening. That's literally happening today. You have a lot of
people are.
Yeah, and you know, now you're going down this deep thing, and that's going to be like another video or even topics or opinions of why people feel like there should be a wall or there shouldn't be a wall.
Yeah.
You know, and that's like a whole other rabbit hole. But just solely the fact that people can come over from another country, like regardless if there's a wall or not, you can come over here, you commit a couple crimes, you go back. Like, that alone just needs to be stopped. You know, we can stop that without having to build a wall or not build a wall.
Yeah.
If someone comes over here and commits a crime, then treat them like that here with that crime. What would you give someone else that lived here? Like, if he lived here and he was a U.S. citizen here, would he had a worse sentence?
All I know is when you go to another country and you commit a crime, they keep you there.
Oh yeah, you stay your ass there. If you commit a crime in another country, they stay your ass there. And depending on what color your skin is, you're gonna be a whole lot worse over there than you would be over here.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you know, that was funny. There was that story. You remember that story of that black man that went to North Korea? You remember that story? The black man that went to North Korea? Let's see if I can type that in. Chat, you with me? Y'all remember that story, chat? It was a black man that he was in North Korea and he committed a crime in North Korea. He got into a fight at a bar, and it was like his second or third offense. At the bar, they put him in jail in Korea. He somehow escaped, and they killed him. Watch. Man escapes Korea prison. Y'all remember that, chat? Come on, I know y'all don't leave me hanging. So he was army. He was in the army. Soldier returned to U.S. custody after crossing into North Korea. It was Buddy, Travis King. Y'all remember? It was bro.
Oh.
Remember he crossed in? Remember? Travis King, a U.S. Army private, crossed into North Korea from South Korea in 2023 and was later charged with desertion and other offenses. Crossing into North Korea, King crossed into North Korea after joining a tour group at the demilitarized zone in Panmunjom, South Korea. The U.S. government said he crossed without authorization. But the thing was, he had already went like AWOL. The U.S. Army charged King with 8 offenses, including desertion, assault on fellow soldiers, and solicitation of child pornography. King pleaded guilty to desertion, 3 counts of disobeying an officer, and assault on a non-commissioned officer. The other charges were dismissed. They tried to get him from everything. He pleaded guilty to everything else, but he's like, nah, that's child pornography, dog. That was me. King was sentenced to 12 months confinement, reduced to grade of E1, and a dishonorable discharge. He is currently in custody in the Otero County Jail in New Mexico. I remember that. You remember that? Chat, y'all remember that? 2023. This was last year. They had pictures and everything of this dude. He crossed over. He had like already went AWOL or something. Then he crossed over. Maybe he got into a fight in a bar. All of that stuff. He had been released. Yep. Crossed into North Korea on July 18th. Was received by U.S. officials after being transferred to China. This man was all over. I forgot why we even brought this up. Why we bring this up? People leaving other countries, transferring and stuff like that.
Just
committing crimes.
Yeah.
People being people. Crazy work. Man. Yeah, Jonathan, you guilty, Jonathan. Hey, man, I'm sorry, Jonathan. That's sad with the family, though, to be honest with you.
There's a lot of
It's really sad.
I like crime junkies though, because I guess their whole thing is you know, they want their listeners to, because, well, long story short, their audience, I'm sorry, their videos, their content is based on cases that are more so unsolved.
Okay.
Or just that there's more information that comes years later.
Okay.
So they reopen cases that maybe are anywhere from like the 70s to the 90s, and then new information is, or new evidence is found like in 2020. Yeah.
So cold cases. They'll go after cold cases.
Yeah.
And then she even said that the captain of the police department had sent her this story so they can give a little bit more awareness. So you'll have people sending submissions of stories as well as sending cold cases to them, and they'll just kind of go through it. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and they really just like encourage like the audience to like look up and dig deep into these cases too, because in case they have information, they can send forms to the podcast, and they'll include it in the episodes.
Wow.
So, but yeah, it's kind of sick though. A lot of these are like, you know, homicides.
Yeah, no, I mean, these are homicides. Like, these people are being murdered by people who say that they love them. I'll spend my whole life with you.
Yeah.
You know, like in front of the kids. Like, this man killed his, well, he kept calling her his wife, wasn't really his wife, but killed his wife and then put the body in the daughter's room while the daughter slept in their room and locked the door, went to work. Then came home, started cleaning real quick and told the daughter, you can't go in your room. Crazy work. Crazy work, if you ask me.
And imagine how the child feels knowing that her dad is capable of doing that to her mom. Like, do you know? Can you imagine the reality that she has to step into after that?
Yeah, no, now that right there, like that is like that's the most difficult thing because you have now.
And she was only 7.
Yeah, you have exactly.
That's traumatizing.
Very traumatizing because she's also at that age to where her memory is working like clockwork. Like she's gonna remember this. You know what I'm saying? It's different.
She's gonna remember every detail, and then when she
detail.
gets older, she's going to understand even more and realize, one, when you're young, you don't have any knowledge of what it's like to be in a relationship. Because you're too young to understand, and then let alone like to really understand like sex and like what that means, you know. So your awareness is a little amateur, you know. So when as she gets older, she's going to have complete like realization of the fact that her dad was capable of doing that to her mom, and also
I'm listening.
the nature of like having to understand like that this is Jasper.
Oh, baby came in. Aw, he's so cute. Give us 1 second, you guys. Baby just came in. Give us 1 second. We're gonna get it going. She's gonna come back with that thought. We appreciate everybody that's been tapping in right now. We are at 38 followers. Our goal is to reach 1,000 in the next 24 days. We believe it's possible. Anything is possible. You see, I'm working on it, speaking to the camera. I gotta look right at the camera because I'm talking to you guys. You know, sometimes I look at myself. So many things going on. So I appreciate you guys for bearing with us, working out the kinks as we get a lot more comfortable with bringing you all this great content that we plan on bringing you. And so we appreciate all the early birds, everybody that's been tapping in, following so far, viewing, you know, not being afraid to even throw some things in the chat. We're very personable people. We will answer, I mean, it's, me at least, you know, and my wife as well. We will answer all the questions that we feel like we have the answers to, as well as we are willing to learn. We're willing to sit here and listen also to the other opinions and ideas and answers that you all may have out there. Again, this is about building a community. It's about building a village, and that is what we're here to do. Number one, first and foremost, and let's have fun doing it. You know, let's really have fun doing it. Let's lock in. It's 2025. Let's stay alive. Let's look alive, and let's do our best here in 2025 to overcome all the fears, to overcome all the negativity that was holding us back in the previous years. We continuously tell ourselves, "This is our year. This is our year. This is our year." Then the year starts. We go about a month, 2 months strong. Then by the time March comes around, we start to wind down. We start to fail. We start to become lackadaisical. This is not what we're going to do this year and moving forward. And I'm not just speaking for myself, but come on, say this with me. Let's manifest this, that we're going to continue out into our goals. We're not just going to go to the gym for the first month like everyone else and then fall off by the time February and March hit. We're going to continue out this process. We're going to make this a daily lifestyle. And that's what it's all about. Let's stay positive. Let's continue to love. Let's continue to push this message. Let's have fun. Come on now. There's so many things that are happening in the world. You are grateful to even be on the air right now, live streaming, wherever you're at, whether you're at in the house or outside. The fact that you're able to even have a phone or able to have the ability or the tools to do what you're doing right now is a blessing. So be grateful for even the small things, but do not become content because there's always room for growth. So let's get out there and let's get it every single day. We're at 38 followers and we need a grand, and we will get that grand. Talk to me, baby. How you doing? How the kids? Good? You kind of hungry? Kids just watching a movie.
Sure, after this, I'm gonna make a sandwich.
A sandwich? You finna make a sandwich?
Okay, are we gonna start our episode or
Yeah,
what else do you want to do?
The episode already started, baby. I'm on your time. What you want to talk about? What you want to talk about? We 2 hours in.
Okay, we can do this for
What
our
you want to talk
YouTube
about?
episode 7.
Okay, episode 7.
Welcome to episode 7.
Welcome to episode 7. Let's get it in. Look at us fixing ourselves. Let's get it in. Let's get it in. How you doing, baby?
My birthday is ow. Ah,
Oh my gosh, you alright?
my birthday is in 3
You
days
just dropped your phone?
on my ankle.
Oh. You alright? Your birthday's in 3 days? You excited? You said we're going to dinner?
Yeah, we're going somewhere really nice for dinner, and I hope you like it. I think you'll like it.
How you get it? Wasn't I supposed to surprise you on where to go you chose for us? You surprising me?
You don't do like birthday planning.
Oh, birthday planning. What are you talking about?
You don't plan birthdays around here. Okay, you know what? Next year I'm gonna leave our birthday up to you, and if you don't plan anything, then we won't be doing anything for our birthday.
Okay.
Remember,
And
I
if I
said
don't
this.
plan anything, then that means I didn't want to do anything for my birthday.
Well, my birthday's involved, so if I want to do something for my birthday, that's why I planned something, and I'm literally including you. Look, I got this text from the restaurant.
You got a text from the restaurant?
Yeah, and they said.
Oh my gosh.
They said. Hello, this is blank, blank, blank in Dallas.
Blank.
We would love to know the name of the birthday guest we are celebrating. And I said, hi, thank you for reaching out. My husband and I are both celebrating our birthday this month.
Amazing. That's great. So they know.
I literally included you on my birthday.
So
Like the day of my birthday.
When we get there and we eat, they're gonna bring out like a little dessert with both of our names on it.
Maybe.
Oh, what's the place called that we're going to?
I'm not telling you. So
Oh my
it's gonna be a surprise. I'm not gonna tell you.
Oh my gosh, dope. Okay, so what do we have? Where are we at?
Okay. So
Talk to me, baby.
we left off us getting back together.
Yes, that's where we left off. We got back together.
Happily ever after at this
The
point. And then we, got right to it. We had another baby.
We got right to it. We got back together and we got right to it. We didn't waste no time. We had another baby right away, off the ripper.
We didn't waste no time. We had our third son.
Let's get it.
And yeah, how would you describe the relationship coming back from just getting back together, now having a second son? We were like maybe like a year in.
Okay.
And then we got pregnant again.
We didn't waste no time. So what is your question that you're asking me?
I said, how was it like within that year of like getting back together? And
I mean, that year.
Do you feel like, I remember you saying that it was like the best time in our relationship?
Us getting back together?
Like the best season where you feel like we were the most like in love, we're the most trustworthy. Like,
absolutely, because we just came out of a bad season. Speaking about him, we just came out of a bad season, and we were ready to restart, and this was the perfect time for us to restart. Because we had already gone through the process of learning a little bit about what we can do better going into this next season of reconciling our marriage and trying this family thing one more time. We moved to a completely different apartment. Like, it was a refresh, like a whole 2 hours away from where we lived at recently. So I would say, yes, that was the strongest point coming back. Right now in our relationship, I feel like we're at the strongest. Obviously, our communication, everything's aligning. We're here. We see the vision. It's clear. During that time, about a year ago, when we first got back together, yeah, like that was where the things were starting to move. It felt like we weren't getting too angry at each other as far as misplacing it. Our heads were leveled. We were ready to actually become this family that we've always dreamed of, and that's what we started working towards, which is why we're here today. So I will say yes, during that time, in moving into now, very strong. Even with some of the things that we went through at that time. Not to just go on a tangent, but Zoe getting sick. Even being pregnant with our Zayshawn, our third son, even him being sick, and the doctor saying that he would have some sort of spinal disease when he was born. Let's even touch on some of those things. Like, you were pregnant at the time, and our son Zovaya has a seizure while you're pregnant, and the doctor is telling you, oh yeah, by the way, the baby that you're pregnant with, our third son Zay, he also has a high chance of getting the spinal disease, to where his bones may not grow the way they should. How are you feeling as a mother during that time, knowing that your oldest just had a seizure and your son, who is about to be born, may not be able to walk?
Well, I think we had like no choice but to like fall on each other.
Yes.
In these moments, and that's probably like the hardest thing. Obviously we come together in prayer through everything that we've ever been through. Like, we go straight to like, what is God trying to do here? Like, what kind of work is this? Like, why am I being sent to the hospital for okay, you kind of just told it out of order, but
how did I tell it out of order?
What came first was me going to the hospital for like during my pregnancy.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not telling out order. I'm just saying, like, both of these things were kind of simultaneously happening all at the same
Oh,
time. Yeah, you got told that he's gonna have a possible spinal disease,
well,
but also
I thought you were talking
Zovi.
about the possible miscarriage too.
I
Like,
mean,
okay,
yeah. I mean, it's all.
okay.
Do I need to ask the question again for the editing purposes of this?
No,
Jeez.
I'm trying to touch
Yeah,
on
yeah.
what you're
So
saying, and
follow.
I was
So yeah, follow along. During the time where you agree, we both can agree that when we moved in together, it was the greatest relationship as far as
yes,
us, like emotionally, how we loved
yes,
each other mentally. Like we were
yes,
growing at an exponential
yes.
rate. The only thing though was
Were
that
the
health issues that, or so-called health issues that the doctors were saying our kids were having.
yeah, those were really the only things I would say was like the ups and downs that we would experience
Yes.
during that time. Um, yeah, so the three instances that I would say was first living in that apartment. Zai was only like 1.5, I think.
Uh-huh.
And I remember being at home and going to the bathroom and just bleeding out.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, damn, like I think I'm having a miscarriage.
Mm-hmm.
And I was crying, remember?
I do remember that. Yep, and I remember Zovaya running to me while I was in the other room, and he was like, "Mommy's bleeding, mommy's bleeding," and like my life just flashed before my eyes. I didn't even know like what like it was. Everything ran through my
Yeah,
head.
it was scary. It was scary. I don't know. I then we went to
The
the
emergency room that night.
emergency room and like they ran all these tests and
There for hours.
came back and said nothing was wrong with me. It was a uh they misread it as a miscarriage.
Which is interesting. You see how like everything always be happening at those weird hours. Like God forbid, knock on wood, that ever happened again. But it's like it was midnight when that happened. The thing with Zay, as we go on later in the story, like it was like midnight. Like all these things, like it kind of happened late night during a time when our relationship
Is good.
is
Like
so good.
yeah.
Like our relationship is so good. It's like nothing can stop us now. And then like the doctor says, "Oh, your child might have this, or your kid gets sick, or there's a possible
Yeah.
chance of you having a miscarriage." It's like
Yeah.
every time you feel like you get this breath of fresh air, here comes something that's suffocating.
Yeah. That's something to just like knock you off your game almost like
Right when you get back on the horse, something knocks you off.
yeah. And then right after that it was like we they were seeing me regularly because of the bleeding and they ruled everything out and there was no complications, right? And then they also detected that there was something in his spine, like saying that the baby wasn't going to be able to walk or crawl or do anything on his own. And it's funny that like as of this week he's just
Standing up by
up
himself.
at his and like trying kind of
Which
slowly
is the
walking
grace of
around.
God because he's 9 months now. So, but not even 9 months ago, 10 months ago, the doctor was saying that he's not going to walk, and he's
Yeah.
actually about to walk early.
They wanted to
That
test my
is
blood.
that is the grace of God right there.
Yeah. And then later in the pregnancy, toward the end of it, we experienced Zoe's seizure.
Yes,
Um,
that
and
was
that
around
was
this time last year,
yeah,
like the beginning of 2024, maybe the end of 2023.
yeah.
It was around this time last year, right when we found out. Like this was right after we found out that you almost had a miscarriage and that the baby would have a spinal disease. Our eldest son has a seizure, but not just any seizure. This is the longest recorded seizure in the city of Corona. Wasn't it like the longest recorded seizure? They said like this is the longest that they've had someone seize. Like they don't understand
Yeah.
how he seized that long. And
Yeah,
there's
it
well,
was
like
pretty long.
sees that long, and then which I mean I don't mean to jump ahead, but for them to then find nothing.
Yeah, because they were asking us like about his history, his medical history,
27 minutes.
if it runs in the family, that like yeah, and it was just so It's just
No
so.
one in our family had any
It was just so
seizures.
sudden. Like it was so sudden.
Yeah, no one in our family. This is like short little backstory. No one in our family had any seizures on my side or on her side. And she comes running to me out of the room saying, Zovaya's not responding, come to him. And it's interesting how things work. During this time, our middle child Zaire, who is 2 now, he woke up early, and I went to the living room, uh, and I was teaching him how to pray at a young age. And during this time of us just kind of like repeating words, kind of talking to each other, you come running out, and you're like, Zavia's not responding. You need to talk to Zavia. And it's even interesting at this same time, I was also doing a fast. So this is like day 2 of my fast. I'm really trying to get deeper.
You weren't eating.
I wasn't eating. That's what I'm saying. This is day 2 of my fast. I'm really trying to get in tune with my spiritual. Like I'm doing this like in tune with my spirit. I'm fasting. I'm looking for more answers. And on day 2, praying with our middle child, you come out and you say that our oldest son has a seizure, and my whole world just like flipped. Like, I mean, I remember just like frantically running in there. He's foaming from the mouth, spit coming out, grabbing him, putting him in the water. Am I going too fast? Like, this is literally all happened. Putting him in the shower because I didn't even think. Tell you, can you call 911? Call 911. I'm in the cold water with him. He stops maybe for a little bit. Take him out of the cold water. We rush to the living room. I'm holding him. He's still seizing. I mean, now this is like 17 minutes has gone by. Like, 18 minutes. Like and the reason why I'm saying it like that is because I'm like literally counting in my head, like talking to God, holding him. He's still seizing. And I remember hearing a still voice, and I will always say this no matter what air I'm on. And it was God saying, your son receives the Holy Spirit. And I just felt this sudden sense of relaxation and ease and this self of peace. Still, like, my mind is like racing, but just something small inside me just felt this like sudden sense of peace and at ease. And I mean, 27 minutes, he seized.
Yeah.
They,
It was.
they came in, they bust down the door, like they stuck him with some medicine. He stopped for a little bit, then seized again. They had to up the dosage.
And then and it was just scary because like as a mom, like you either are in shambles or you tell yourself to hold yourself together. And I was holding myself together because there was just really no time for crying because you want to be attentive to like what everyone is saying, like the paramedics, like you don't want to miss a detail, right? And that's where I was at.
Are you shooting shots because I kind of got teary?
No, I'm not shooting shots. But
I did. I will be completely honest with you. I got a little teary.
you were crying.
I got a little teary. I wasn't boohoo crying, but I definitely got teary because, like I said, I felt the Holy Spirit touch me, bro. Like I felt like it wasn't even me standing in that living room anymore. It just nothing actually felt real.
Yeah.
Like I hadn't eaten in 2-3 days. Like, and for being honest about this whole situation, like that was also a time where I was really trying to get over the fact that I had a really bad drug problem.
Yeah.
Like if we're being completely honest, so like I'm fasting, I'm trying to get more into my spirit. I'm coming off of having a really bad drug problem at the time, and my mind is not right. Like I'm thinking this is my punishment from God for all the things that I had done leading up to this moment. When in actuality, this was just God giving us a scenario to become stronger.
Yeah, it's funny how you're given like every possible like outcome that plays in your head like of what could happen, right? And at the time you felt like it was like punishment for doing this and that, or just aligned with what you were going through at the time. And then for me it was more like, how could this be happening, and it's like that realization of like you need to pick yourself up because for whatever reason this is happening right now, it's part of you now and you need to like carry yourself because it's not done yet, right? And so that part is even scary because like you said, like the paramedics, they pushed what was it, like Keppra, right? Like, Keppra.
Yeah.
That's seizing medication.
Exactly.
So they pushed that. a couple times on him, and it just wasn't working. They put him on the ambulance. They had me riding in the front seat, and all I could think was like, this could be like my last day, like with him.
Absolutely.
And like at the time, like I wasn't as emotional as I am right now, but at the time it's like, how do you go from like having a normal day to like thinking like this could be my last day with my child? Because you just don't think of that, waking up like that you're gonna go through your day and this would be your last moments with him, and God was able to prepare you for that, and that wasn't what it was at all. So I'm in this ambulance, and we get there, and you're riding behind us, right, with Zaire, and we get to the hospital, and immediately, like, they're trying to figure out why this 5-year-old was seizing, and when we get to the hospital, he's like sleeping.
Yeah.
And all I could do is like pray that this like isn't the end.
Yeah. That he wakes up.
Yeah, that this just, I'm like demanding answers now, like this better not be it, like, and then at that point it's like we in our heads we play out all these scenarios, but still praying, like,
Absolutely.
everybody moving fast around you, and you're trying to get your feelings together and get your emotions together, and then then they tell you stuff like we gotta tap his spine, do a spinal tap, and I had to do I was holding him down.
Yeah.
Nurses are holding him down. The doctor was taking this big ass needle, like I kid you not, it's like this big.
Yeah.
And like this thick.
Yeah.
Into his spine to see if there's any fluid that'll detect why he had a seizure. And one, they couldn't do it.
It failed.
They couldn't do it.
Yeah.
So they
which is interesting because they even asked you, hey, can we do a spinal tap? So they have to have your permission first before they go out and extract fluid, because there could be some complications when doing it.
Yeah.
Right?
Because he's young.
Because he's young. It's like threading a needle.
Yeah.
They're putting a needle through a thread. Yeah. So threading a needle. So the fact that they even tried to do it and it didn't work. And then they say, okay, well, we're just going to have to wait until we transfer him over to the children's hospital, because remember, we're at a hospital that's not necessarily designated for kids.
We're in the emergency room.
We're in the emergency room.
They don't have the resources either to do all the tests that they needed.
Which is quite interesting to me, because we've had our fair share of emergency rooms within the last couple of years, you know, and it is a blessing from God that we haven't been on the other side of the stick. You know, that we've always been able to walk out with our kids healthy, and that is I think it's gratitude. Like, thank God for that. But it is very interesting how just because you go to this hospital or this emergency room, they may not have the type of tools they need to treat you, which I understand that there are shortages. But I mean, living here in America, you would think, or you would at least hope, that no matter what emergency room or clinic or hospital I go to, it would be able to be catered to my child or to the elderly person. Like, we still got at least a little bit of something for everybody, opposed to like, we just don't got that here. We can't help your kid. You got to go, which we just experienced. You got to go 45 minutes up the freeway, in order for your child to be taken care of properly. It's better, which I get it, but at the same time, it's like some of these things, that doesn't help. Like, some of these kids that are going into the emergency rooms, we don't have time to go down the street.
Yeah, I think they kind of base it off of like maybe blood pressure at the time, their heart rate, like like the bases, like the basic tests that they run first.
Absolutely.
And if he's showing signs of like he's still seizing, like, which it wasn't that, because it only happened once. Remember?
It did only happen once.
So it happened once, and then it never came back because they were monitoring him the whole day. But I think they just go off the basis of like, is he still seizing, and what level of urgency is this? Because there's other cases where
absolutely, there's worse cases. There's other traumas that are coming in. There's code blues.
Yeah.
There's a lot of other things that are happening around us to where it's like, okay, your son's not seizing right now. We're monitoring him. He's good. That's fine. Which I completely understand that. It's the fact that they don't have certain tools, or they're not capable enough, right? Like I personally didn't feel like that doctor was even capable enough to completely successfully do a spinal tap. I mean, they even explained to it like, oh, it might be easier over at CHOP,
Mm-hmm.
for them to be able to do that, which, that's 45 minutes of the freeway, which he wasn't an extreme case, but that definitely was a tough pill to swallow, being that parent in the waiting room,
Yeah,
and
it's not a good feeling
no, I mean,
to be like, in, like suspense of like what is gonna happen next, because there's not so much they can tell you, and then at the same time, like, you're going based off the look of your child, like, are they in pain? Are they not? Are they still sleeping? Like, he was still sleeping, and it was just like you just didn't really know what was going to happen, and um
yeah, you really start to even like visualize, your mind starts to play tricks on you, and you start hearing things from the enemy, or you start hearing things from a savior, and all these voices, and family members, and so many things just get compiled, and now you just feel so pressured that you don't even know what to think anymore. At
yeah.
least for me. And I remember sitting there, right after he had the seizure. They did the spinal tap, and I remember sitting there and I'm looking at him, and it was like a vision came to my head, almost like a flip book. Those books where it's like the ball is bouncing, you just keep flipping the pages and the ball just keeps bouncing, bouncing. And it's as if I saw my life from where it was right then with our son, all the way seeing him get married, like all the way until I passed, like a flip book, life with him. And then the second vision was a flip book still, but it was life without him. And I felt God tell me, would you still love life? Better yet, would you still love me if I took your son away? And it hit home for me heavy, because it's like you're now really having these conversations with yourself of, what would life look like if I did not have my child? Like if that was it, right? And God forbid, and these are tough conversations to have, but by him being in our life for that 5 years, if that was it, can I walk away from that situation and potentially heal? And there are people and there are parents, and I'm not downplaying anything. There are parents that actually do lose their child. Like I have friends,
Yeah.
I have friends that lose their child. That is something, even just seeing our friends, that is something that's so hard to heal from and to like continue walking, and then you have to tell yourself like, okay, like, well, how would this person want me to live out the rest of my life? But what if that person's so young they didn't even have an opinion for yourself, so you didn't even know how that person would want you to live the rest of your life? They barely had a life of their own. So it was so difficult sitting there visualizing, or just not even, I didn't even choose to visualize, it just got downloaded into me on what life would look like without my son or with my son. And that was so hard to swallow, and to still be grateful and to still be thankful and be like, you know what? And obviously I didn't have to live it. I just said it, but I had to sit there and still be grateful and think to myself, okay, whether he's going to survive or not, I still have to be one here knowing who I am and who I'm created to be. And that's tough. This is my
Yeah.
oldest son.
That's like the hardest pill to swallow, like you having to accept that things could change like this.
Blink of an eye.
Like, and you're not too far off from things could have been this way and things would have been different. Like, take me back to yesterday when things were just cool,
Mm-hmm.
and like now you're sitting at the hospital, like just praying that you get to go back home.
Mm-hmm.
And thankfully, like, that's what we did,
Yes.
but it doesn't take away from like the of how difficult it was to sit in the hospital and then to look people, like, to look strangers in the face, like that,
Mm-hmm.
that you feel like you have to trust helping you
Mm-hmm.
because your son's life is on the line. So you need to trust that God's hand is all over it, and to be able to look at you
Mm-hmm.
and not argue and not be like,
That
to
was,
cast all your frustrations out on each other because you don't know
yes.
what the fuck is going on
Yes.
with your son, and then having to accept that you don't know what's gonna happen, but are you going to be able to pull yourself together even if something does go wrong or if you lose your son? And that's
Yes.
that's another thing that's like that comes with being a parent, because you don't even expect that like side of you, to where are you enjoy the joys of being a parent, and everything is all good until they're in the hospital,
Yes.
for being sick, for having a seizure, for having a stomach ache, for having a thing on their skin, like you don't expect the weight of having to carry, like, are they gonna die, like, am I gonna lose my child today, and what is going, like, what went wrong, and
Exactly.
to not turn away from God because of that,
Which is
and
tough because the first thing you want to do is blame God. At least for some people, or even for
some
myself.
people.
Some people, for myself, I wanted to blame myself at first. I wanted to almost kind of blame God because it's like, how come when I start this fast, I start sobering up, I start doing things right, this happens. And I had to really sit down and like process everything. That's usually when things happen, right? When you feel like it's kind of going good, and
Yeah.
you got your feet back underneath you. Right when you feel like it's going good, here comes something to knock you over. But that's just life. This is what builds soldiers. Remember we talked about it the other day. You said there was a meme. You were like, "I'm tired of."
Take me off the strongest soldiers list.
Yeah, tell
God's
God.
strongest
Yeah,
soldiers
take me
list.
off of God's strongest soldiers list.
I've been on that list for a minute.
But pressure creates diamonds, and this is exactly where we're at in our relationship. And you said it very. You hit the nail on the head with this one, and I think this is very important. And I think this is some relationship advice that I would give to any couple out there, that if they find themselves in a situation to where they have to take their son or daughter to the hospital, or they have to go to a parent-teacher conference, anything to where you feel like it's a high pressure situation, and you got your kid or your kids with you, the number one thing you should always make sure you remember is that you and your partner are on the same page. Because the last thing you want to do is walk through those doors arguing or frustrated at each other, projecting how you feel, because it's only going to make matters worse. Not only are you already going through it, like imagine, not only were we already going through it with Zoviah and him seizing, and we have Zaire with us who's only 1.5. If we were and you're pregnant, if we're bickering back and forth over as simple as, did you really forget his jacket over there? Oh my God, how come you forgot his jacket at home? You know it's going to be cold in the hospital. Like even that smallest of thing
could could mix up
could mix up
and stir up
now
a
the
whole
energy.
lot of energy
Exactly.
that
That
doesn't
does
need to
not
be
need to
there.
be there.
It's not gonna help.
Complications. This is how complications arise.
It's
And
not gonna
it's
help
not going to help at all.
your child either.
Exactly. And again, you going in there, you're praying that the doctors are helpful. You're praying that the receptionist in the front is helpful. God forbid you walk in there, you're arguing. The receptionist, she's a B word. The doctor, he really don't care about you because of your ethnicity, your orientation, like
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying, your gender. Like it could be so many things if you walking in there. So many situations, so many outcomes. The number one advice I would give to couples is to stay on each other's team in high pressure situations, because that will make or break you.
Yeah. Um, we've had our fair share of hospitals, and we've had our fair share of arguments in a hospital when somebody walks out.
Yeah.
Like, and
Yeah.
it's hard to not argue because you're worried about your child,
Hmm.
and you're trying to get your feelings together.
Which, yeah, exactly. I'm not saying that
Which,
you're not going to argue.
yeah,
It's just pick and choose your battles at that point.
yeah.
Really pick and choose your battles. Like, let's be real. If I really argue with her or him right now, is this even worth it?
No, because it's not gonna matter
It's not
if
gonna matter.
you know.
It's not gonna matter at all. Especially when you have your child laying there is sick, or you're sick, whatever the case may be. High pressure
Yeah,
situation. The last thing that you need is your partner on the opposite team.
yeah.
If anything, this is where you should join alliances, join forces even more.
Not even for, like, and just make it about your child, because
Exactly. Make it about your child.
those are the situations where it's not about nobody else but the baby.
Exactly. Exactly.
Um,
Shouldn't matter what you going through, what you were dealing with, what happened yesterday. The only thing that matters is that child in that situation. And people will say, well, yeah, I always think of my child. I always remember that. Yeah, you may think of your child. However, do not let the negative energy, or even the thought of, I'm going to argue with my partner right now in this hospital, get to you, because that's just going to stir something that you really don't need in the air. That's the advice that I would definitely give somebody. And moving forward from that, you know, going to the hospital again, getting a checkup, and them saying, "Come back, we want to run a couple tests," and you know, them trying to say that, okay, well, maybe there might be some form of epilepsy, and they go and they look and they can't even find it, and they give us some medicine to try to give them some medicine. They say it's a cerebral seizure. They try to give them some medicine. We completely deny medicine. We believe that, what, let's take some natural routes. Let's change his diet up a little bit. Let's continue to pray. Maybe that was just a freak accident. Not even maybe, like that was just a freak accident. This is what we believe in. We're going to stand on this. We're going to have faith on this. And here's where I will bring this up slightly, because I don't want people to get confused. There are situations where the couple or the family members, they have faith and it's grounded and they do believe. And maybe it might not be the outcome that they want. And I can't speak for somebody that they had faith, they had belief. No telling what doubt or what went through their mind or whatever for how long. Whether a negative thought sitting in your head can dictate the outcome, we don't know. I don't know. However, I have seen with my own eyes, but not my heart, couples go through situations where it looked like they had faith to see their child come out of that, and the child didn't. And I don't know how that feels, so I can't necessarily speak on it. But what I can speak on is that the situation itself, staying positive, no matter what, is key. Because once you start drowning yourself in those sorrows,
you might stay there
forever.
And you might, that might be where you end up.
Yes, exactly.
Because it doesn't hurt to be positive, or it doesn't hurt to pray over the situation when, one, you don't have control.
Absolutely.
You don't have control over everything, and so the things that you don't have control over, you could pray over that, because what can you lose by hoping that light comes from a dark situation?
Exactly. Hoping that the rain stops, hoping that life comes from a dark situation, hoping the grass grows. Like, this is definitely something, it is great to hope, because you don't want to sit in that sorrows. But there comes a point in time where, yeah, you're going to doubt. Like, you're going to have this feeling of misplacement. It's just, how long do you sit in that, and when do you get over that? It's a tough pill to swallow. It's a tough situation, what we're in, where you feel like I might lose my child, or people who have lost a child. It is scary.
We've come very close to that feeling.
We've come very close to that feeling a couple times.
It's not a joke.
A couple times.
Yeah, that's like you said, after the seizure, even a couple months later, we did take him to go get tested. We did that.
We did.
What is it called? That test that they do.
They have him go to sleep for a little bit.
The EKG.
And they have him go to sleep for a little bit. They monitor his brain when he does go to sleep. Yep.
And they said that he was having seizures in his sleep. So that's why they wanted to give him, or to leave it up to us to give him the medication that would stop him from seizing in his sleep. But the side effects were so severe that it would just not make him anymore.
Exactly. The side effects were as if he was on crack cocaine or methamphetamine. Those were the side effects. If he were to take, which is wild, that, yeah, here's your cure, or possible cure, but there might be some side effects. And the side effects are, it's going to affect his learning. He's going to have mood swings. He's not going to be able to focus. Yeah, he won't be able to.
Depression was anxiety, the main one.
He's 5 years old. And you're telling me, oh yeah, when he goes to sleep, there's some seizures. Here's some medicine. Now, I know that there are parents out there that put their child on medication.
On that medication.
Mm-hmm. But when we really dive deep into it, it's like there are so many natural remedies out there that are at least for me, I'd rather take my chances and take my shot with natural remedies than giving my child medication that is the same side effects as crack cocaine and methamphetamine. I'd rather him smoke weed. I even said that to you, which I wouldn't. Okay, like let's not call child protective services on me.
Yeah.
But like when you looked at the side effects for that drug compared to like anything else, it was like that's terrible. I'd rather him, if you're saying that. So I think we really have to take with a grain of salt what a healthcare provider tells us. Yes. Always seek other opinions from other healthcare providers.
Yeah, and don't just take like the first thing that the doctor tells you doesn't necessarily mean that you're gonna have to take it and eat that up and let that be. Because like when you're trying to decide what's best for your child, they're going to give you the what they what they feel like would help versus like they can't, based off of something that they can't necessarily like predict would be the outcome.
Exactly.
Right? They're going to only predict that off this medication that it would stop. But at the same time, as they're prescribing this medication to stop him from seizing, they're also taking his entire childhood away from him and taking a lot of what's still underdeveloped in his brain and like distorting it before it could even
fully develop.
He can't even, and they gave us this whole packet about like he might be having these seizures till he's 15, and every night, like since we've made the decision of not giving him the medication, we monitor him while he's sleeping, and like we pay attention to little signs that might detect any signs of him maybe seizing in his sleep. But one, like we haven't seen any signs.
No, not at all.
It hasn't come back. And even when he's awake, there's nothing that screams like I have epilepsy, and they tried to tell us this
exactly. There's nothing that screams that he has epilepsy, and if we would have put him on that medication, it actually would have made it worse. And now I know some of you are wondering, okay, well then what did you guys do in order for him to be cured or healed? And I don't want to make it sound like it was simple. It's definitely not simple, but a lot of faith, a little bit of changed diet, a lot of love, and a lot of care, a lot more attention. And this is, I'm not a doctor. I'm not, so I'm not going to give, what is it? I'm not going to give any medical advice because I'm not a doctor. However, I am a parent of 3 kids, and I will say that a great meal, some water, and a lot of tender love and care goes a long way. Faith, like seriously.
Yeah.
Like holding your child, making sure they eat, get some good nutrients in them, spending some quality time with them. You know what I'm saying? Like that quality time with your child. I mean, we could see it online. I don't want to go off on a tangent, but you see it online on cases upon cases of people who are sick, and then they get a little bit of, tender love and care, and all of a sudden their health just starts skyrocketing into the right place. Yeah. And I think that's what sometimes we miss as parents. It's not necessarily our fault. We can't blame ourselves because then we'll fall into another whole pity party. But we have to make time right now. I don't want to say when time is due. We have to make time right now because we don't want it to fall into a situation to where we say, I wish I would have made time with my child, and now that they're here, I can't spend any time with them. Like spend time with them while they are healthy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the thing too, like from that happening, from him having a seizure, there was also like no cause. Like they couldn't find the cause of why it happened.
They still didn't even give us the cause. I mean, at the end when they checked us out, they were like, right before we left, oh, we're thinking it's a cerebral seizure. Which, if some of you don't know, some kids, when they have a high fever, their body reacts and they have a seizure. It just so happens to be 27 minutes.
Yeah, and it was really like a special case, and nobody was able to tell us like
Mm-mm.
the cause of it. They said we couldn't even have caused it by anything that, you know, like, and I asked, like, I was like, could anything that we have, you know, done may have caused it, you know? But they said, you know, it can't be caused by even like you guys arguing. Like
Yeah,
seizures aren't caused
by
by,
an external factor of
yeah.
like us
So
arguing or something like that.
so it was just such a special case that like when we came out of it, it was such a profound like realization that like, well, when it was it was hard to come out of because we're speaking to him so normally after he came home,
Hmm.
and he the saddest part about it was that like he just didn't even know that it happened.
That was very sad.
And that's the part where like that's where it
I
comes in,
remember that.
where you said that
I
you
remember
have
that.
to show the most amount of attention and like love that you possibly can, because
He doesn't even remember.
like your child doesn't even have an awareness that this happened to him, and like that's sad, like him being so young, like you're just completely your body is just completely vulnerable and in the hands of like the people who take care of you, and so like, you know, like
In a sense,
speak
he's helpless. In a sense,
yeah,
like
yeah, speaking from a child's perspective, like you are so helpless, and in that situation, like it is so important to have like two parents
hmm
who care about you like that,
hmm
because you know there was no way that um like I, you know, like I didn't even leave the room.
And I was just about to bring that up. That's interesting. I said it because I was even going to say how even my mom said that. Whether it's two, like you said, it's great to have the two parents there in the hospital. Even if the parents aren't together, something happens with a child, both parents be there.
Yeah.
You know, if something happens where both parents can't show up, regardless, that parent that is there, that guardian, do not leave the child's room. This is not even to say that, oh, we can't trust the healthcare providers. No, this is just the fact that that child can't speak up for themselves, even
Yeah.
if they're just like a little bit uncomfortable because whatever's on them is just too tight.
Yeah.
They feel too nervous to say it, but they're
Yeah.
sitting there because this is too tight. Also, the needle's coming over here. Like, we really have to be mindful of our kids. Um, when in these high pressure situations. And I know a lot of parents are, but there's some things that we tend to miss, like, oh, not arguing or trying not to argue with our partner when in nice high pressure situations, or if our child goes to the back room with the doctor, take that extra time to go to the back room with that child as well. I mean, even
Yeah.
if you got the babies or something with you, try to make a call to see if somebody can help watch the babies. But if not, you got to take all the babies with you to the back room with your other child. Who cares if your kids are making a bunch of noise in that hospital and
Yeah.
people are complaining?
Yeah.
They don't got kids. They don't understand. Like, who cares
Yeah.
what anyone else thinks at that time? The only thing that matters is you and that child. I don't care if people are talking about my other kids as being.
And that you never leave.
I would never leave my child's side.
Cause
No, I can't leave. I don't care if my
yeah.
other kids are being too loud or blah blah blah. Nah, we're here. We're in the hospital. This needs to get done.
Yeah. And that's the hard part about it, because you know you voluntarily put yourself in a situation where one, you wouldn't leave your child, and you have to be strong through everything,
Yes.
and the one thing was, you know, having them stick needles, all that, taking blood, everything, and having to see with your own eyes,
Uh huh.
like them trying to make sure they provide the most, like, best possible care.
The utmost care.
But it's hard. Like, I'm not saying, like, you know, that it was easy to it. I'm not saying either that it's easy
Mm-hmm.
to be there, because you know you have to face like the reality of like what is happening in front of you. Also, like, not only do you have to be there for your child, but you have to be there when someone takes like a 10-inch needle
Yeah.
and to their spine,
Yeah.
and hold it down
Yeah.
without you being mad. You have to put all of your feelings aside because you want like the best for your child, and like you want everything to be okay, and like nothing else matters.
Exactly.
And so that shit is hard. And then fast forward, doing that for a 5-month-old, experiencing that with Zay, like.
But we'll get to that though, because that's when we finally move out here, and there's a couple pieces that were.
Oh yeah. Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah. So this is all when we were still living in Corona, this is, in California, California, before moving here to Dallas.
Yeah, a couple months after that, we started deciding.
Yeah, it's a couple more, literally not even a month after that, or even that same month. Like after we left the hospital, we started really deciding like what our next step was, because financially we started to become in a little situation there.
It was just a rough time.
It was just a rough time. I was freelancing at the time, so checks aren't always coming in when you want them. So we're learning how to manage money. Our kid, our oldest son just had a seizure.
Having 2 kids.
Yeah, we had 2 kids. Our oldest just had a seizure. We're going through some financial issues. You're pregnant with the 3rd child. I'm at that point, and this is also another thing at that point, which we'll even touch on this more because this is part of the story. But I remember coming home from the hospital, and okay, I'll say this. I remember coming home from the hospital, and we got Zovaya back home for the first time from the hospital after finding out that he may have epilepsy, and we were going through these financial issues. And I remember getting in the shower for the first time after about 3 days, and I'm sitting in the shower, and this is the second time I hear the Holy Spirit in those 3 days. First time was your son receives the Holy Spirit, everything's gonna be okay. The second time, on the 3rd day, 3 days later, I'm in the shower, and I hear the Holy Spirit say, "Quit your job."
Just throw it away.
Just throw it away. Just quit your job.
I know, he told me, and I was like, huh? Quit your job? What are we going to do? Oh my gosh.
Our oldest son just had a seizure. She's pregnant with us.
I was like, oh my gosh. I was like,
we're about to have 3 kids in total. We got medical bills.
I was like, do I need to work like 9 months pregnant?
Finances are already gone. Finances are diminished. We're in a rough spot. I'm talking about we're in between a pimp and a hard place. I'm talking about it is bad. And I hear God say, quit your job. I'm talking about like water's running down my back. I'm like, oh, I'm so glad to be home. Our son is good. Like, I know the doctor was saying that, my wife, about with our baby, that the baby might, have a spinal issue and might not be able to walk. But like, God, like, just please help us during this time. It's so much. Quit your job. That's some crazy
God don't tell me stuff like that.
And it's crazy because I'm fasting at the time, and I'm fasting at the time still too. I'm fasting at the time still too, and quit your job.
Scary.
Very scary. And I turned down. I think it took me a couple days.
Mm-hmm. You turned down.
But I turned down, and it's interesting because this was January, and we were in the beginning of January. I'm sorry, I gotta calm down a little bit because I know our son, he's kind of waking up. I know we were in the beginning of January, and going into at the end of January, I already had jobs lined up in the freelance world to make some of the most money I've ever made in a month. Like this year was already good. I would have made more money than I've ever made in 1 month alone in just this month. So I'm talking about starting off the year with a bang. Mm-hmm. Here we go. And God says, quit your job. Took me a couple of days, but I quit my job. And do you remember what I did after that? For like 2-3 weeks, I'm talking about like I ain't. Let me fix my grammar. I haven't written a resume in years. Applying to all kind of places.
All over
the U.S. As a video engineer, applying so many places. I'm talking about I sent at least 37, I think the count was, and got 2 callbacks. Now, I don't want to get too ahead of myself because I know there's a lot of this, a lot of story. But we can kind of like end it off around here. You know what I'm saying? Before we get into like having to even move into my mom's house and then going to Corona, like, and then leaving to Dallas, like we can kind of end it off around here, and kind of make that another episode if you want, or if you want to just keep going. But I will say, like, right at this point in our life, we were contemplating on like, should we move to North Carolina? Should we move to Texas? I'm applying to these places here. Are you going to work? Am I going to not work? I'm trying to continue to stay sober because I was going through having a drug problem. Like this was getting tough on us financially in a bind. Like if we're being open, if we're being real with everyone right now, like this was our relationship as us, like our love and our emotion. I mean, this is like we're at a level 1,000. Like we're doing great, me and you. It's just the external factors, like our kids being sick, thing that I was dealing with personally in my personal life. Like this was getting tough. Finances was getting rough, and the only people we can count on were each other. Obviously God, but the only people that we count on was each other. Like obviously we had family and stuff that say they could help and lend a hand, but really it's just us out here. At the end of the day, we're the one with 3 kids, not our family.
Yeah. I think we've come out of a lot of situations and dark places in our life that we were both involved in together.
Yes.
And I think, that just kind of grows like an attachment, not in just a romantic way because we're in a relationship, but more so like as a partner, like in life, to where you see a lot together and you're literally, like I said last episode, like you have been dragged through the mud of all these situations that like no one can say anything about because they just never been through it like you.
Yes.
And they could never speak on like, you should have did this, or you guys shouldn't have done this. And it's like that's where I think a lot of people have to understand when it comes to relationships and marriage and kids is that not every situation is the same.
Exactly.
And so you can't get specific results out of what you think you would have done better, or like, how it would have looked differently for you because,
Exactly.
like no one in this world has gone through what we have together.
Exactly.
You know,
Opposite. Yep.
in the
Detail
same
by detail.
in the
Yep.
same exact way. Like the
Exactly.
way that God played our story out is like nobody can relate in the exact same way. They might have the same, they might have experienced like having a son or a daughter who's experienced like a seizure, or just
Or another
having
type
3
of illness,
kids,
or
or
another type of
like
sick. Exactly. There's some relations in there, but to say that the story lines up exact with someone else's, that's impossible.
and
No
the
one's story the same.
factors, and the factors that come into play, like no one could ever really
Say that they've walked in your shoes. No, but that goes into the saying that no one can walk into your shoes, right? Everybody's situation is different. And I don't mean to cut you off, but you made me think of this thought of this is another piece of relationship advice for other couples out there. Just because it worked for someone else's relationship does not mean it'll work for yours. So if someone's telling you, oh, you guys should just do this, like I'm telling you, like this will work, you do this. 9 times out of 10, if you try that, it probably won't work. And it's not going to look like theirs.
Yeah. And
everyone's situation is different.
Yeah.
So you really have to come together with your partner, or if your partner is not come together with you, I mean, whether you're with your partner or not, go to God. But if your partner's not gonna come together with you, you have to find that inner self and be like, hey, you know what? This is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna come to agreement with myself, and this is how things are gonna be. Because it's not going to work out for you the way it worked out for Joe and Sally over there.
It comes down to probability.
Probability.
The chances of us coming back together and then seeing our kids in and out the hospital, and then for them to find nothing, like you can't describe that feeling to someone else who's never been through that.
Exactly.
For one, the chances are highly unlikely for someone to break up and come back together and then experience the greatest time of their lives and then have it spiral and then come back up again,
Exactly.
And like that's where like God plays all of his, he played everything out the way it was supposed to and according to his plan, and like only you and I could really say that we see that.
Oh, absolutely. And
from the outside looking in,
they
could look at us and be like, damn, how do they do all that?
Yeah.
You know, and
even vice versa. I could look at someone else's situation and be like, damn, how did they go through all that?
yeah, and it's not just one thing. It's a lot of like picking each other up, picking yourself up, picking your kids up, and like, just telling yourself like, let's just get through another day, because even though tomorrow's not promised, it's not finished either.
Exactly. That was great.
And that's how I feel like about.
That was great. Even though tomorrow's not promised, it's not finished either. I like that. I see you.
You like that?
You made that up yourself?
Yeah, I did.
Just kidding.
Yeah.
I just kidding. Okay, so we went from going through that experience. Like I said, this tough financial time. I'm applying to different places. We're trying to figure out even where we're going to move, and we move out of our apartment. This time, not moving out because we don't want to live together, but because our lease is up.
Yeah.
And
we have no like plans of
we have
staying.
we have no plans of staying. Our lease is up. We don't even know if I don't even have a job.
They upped on the rent. They upped on the rent.
Upped on rent.
Like $200.
I don't have a job. They upped on rent. We didn't know
Cali
where we're gonna
rent
go. Yeah.
was gonna be what, 28?
I mean, yeah, after utility and
It was
everything,
like-
it's gonna be $3,000 for a 2-bedroom apartment, less than 1,000 square feet.
Yeah, cheaper than anywhere else in Cali.
Definitely cheaper than anywhere else, and a decent neighborhood, a good neighborhood.
Yeah.
There's a Starbucks right downstairs.
Yeah, it was a kicking crab.
Kicking crab right downstairs, actually.
More important than Starbucks.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, I was there.
And we just didn't know anything. Like, to finish it off, we didn't know where we were gonna be in life. Like, we had no idea we're literally
a third
walking.
child on the way.
Yeah, third child on the way. This is what they call blindly walking in faith. Like, you're walking blindly in faith.
Bad almost.
Like, yeah, I'm talking about. Yeah, remember, y'all know the movie. Shout out my girl. She did this movie on the Bird Box. Remember when she had the blindfold over her eyes and she was trying to maneuver through things and she couldn't see? That's exactly how I felt in
Sandra
this time of
Bullock.
our life. I felt like Sandra Bullock in Bird Box. I was walking blindly in faith like Sandra Bullock in Bird Box, trying to figure out what my next move was. And we discovered it together.
Yeah.
It just took time. Like, if y'all remember that movie clearly, she was blindfolded. She was searching around trying to find out. It took time.
Yeah.
She had to have faith. Blindfolded.
Yeah.
That's exactly how.
That's how it felt.
That's exactly how it felt. I felt like Sandra Bullock in Bird Box, trying to figure out the rest of my life. I had no money in my pocket. My son just trying to recover from a seizure. My wife pregnant.
Yeah, that was tough. And that wasn't. That was like 10 months ago.
That was 10 months ago.
10
months ago. So we're going to end it off here. We appreciate everybody that's tuned in on all platforms. I know Ari's looking at me like, we're going to end it off here, but I feel like there's some things that we want to get deeper into. Like, okay, so now, and when we come back, we just left, because I want to end it off on the right thing. When we come back on the next episode, we'll pick back up
where we left off.
Right where we left off, and we're gonna end it at we're leaving Corona, and we're going to go into this like almost like purgatory. This like, it's pretty much like purgatory before we reach here. It's like this middle part, of like heaven and hell. This is like we're almost like this. Wasn't really a hell season we went through, but it was like our relationship is here, but everything else felt like hell. Our relationship and us felt like heaven. Our external factors of life felt like hell. And now we're moving into this purgatory of these external factors, to where we're going into this. We don't really know what we're going to do or where we're going to go, but we have this faith because the kids are healthy. You're about to have the baby, which you're showing signs of a healthy pregnancy. So it's like we have these little nuggets of positive things to kind of keep us going. And sometimes in life, that's all you have. It's just like one or two positive things in hell.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, oh yeah, I'm in hell, but I got a little bit of water left.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was the right way to say it, but like, that's really how it felt.
Yeah, it's I know you said we were gonna end it, but till next time, I guess.
Till next time?
Till next time.
Did you have one more food for thought?
Food for thought?
Is that what you were about to say? You had something else to say?
Yeah, food for thought. Like we said, that was what we're talking about. That, like, that season of, like, you know, just being, like, barely above water.
Mm-hmm.
That was only 10 months ago.
Only 10 months ago.
And you can only imagine, like, how crazy it is, like, the feeling that, like, the feeling of something only lasting so long, but like in such a short span of time that everything is different and everything has changed. And
oh yeah, absolutely. It's only, like you said, it's only been 10 months and our whole situation has 180'd. You know,
yeah,
and this is why you have to keep faith. Like, no matter what situation you're going through, no matter what circumstance, you have to keep faith. Like my wife said earlier, you have to hold on to some sort of hope. Because, yeah, you can look up in a few months from now, 10 months, a year from now, your whole situation,
your
just
life is
180.
different.
Different. I mean, we went from not having, moving out to not having anywhere to live. We were 3 kids, you know, having to move back into our parents' house, you know, of course, which is thank God for that. But having nowhere to live, so then you look up in 10 months, your finances has completely changed because you kept faith. You're in a way bigger apartment in a way better neighborhood than you've ever been in. Your relationship is on the highest it could ever be, all because you kept faith. And I remember having a conversation with my dad during that time when we moved in. I'm struggling, I'm hurt, I'm pretty much crying to him. And he said, son, remember this conversation because in about 6 months from now, it's going to be completely different.
Yeah.
And in 6 months, it was completely different.
Yeah. And it's so crazy that, like, just the sinking, like, in your heart or like your stomach can make you feel like shit is just, you are just in shambles. And then, like, completely 6 to 10 months later, you're just like at the top of, like, where you like wanted to be at that time.
Yeah.
It's such a crazy feeling of, like, if you just, like, stick through, pull through, like, you'll be able to see, like, the flowers of
Yes.
all the tears you cried, basically.
Yes, that's good.
You know, and
That's good.
you start off in such a shaky, like, time, and, like, it's all these moments that could break you, and then you thug it out and you wait for not feeling like that, and that's completely, like, everything that it is. And, like, you know, God's grace will always be there, and it will look and feel different, but, like, it's almost like he never took his hand off. You know, he never took his hand off the situation, and it was always there. And no matter what it looks like, it's just like, it's all like trust. At the end of the day, it's trust who you're around, trust yourself, trust God, trust, you know, that everything is going to be, like, just put back together. And that's like, that's a hard thing to accept as you get older. You have to be still sometimes, and you just have to like, you have to continuously accept, and you have to be still in the moments where you just, like, you're ready to crash out, and you want to let go of everything. And then you just, like, as people, like, the strength, like, we keep going, you know, something tells us, like, to keep going. And then you're like, here 10 months later. That's like,
I couldn't have said it better myself.
that's like the flowers of life.
That is, from the tears you cry.
Mm-hmm.
Good. It's still shaking up a little bit about it. I can see, and I am too, because this just happened. Like, we want you guys to know this just happened.
Yeah, you pull your, like, you don't even realize, like, how grateful you truly are until you're not there no more.
Yep.
You know, all of our kids are alive right now.
All of our kids are alive, happy, healthy, driving
We're
us crazy.
in one home, just,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and it makes you think twice about what to go crazy over.
This is true.
Because, like, would you rather be doing this or doing that?
Exactly. No.
Losing your mind over here,
Exactly.
you know, or do you have what you want right here?
Mm-hmm. Don't take anything for granted.
Yeah, because you're just one step away. This is too much.
All right, we're done.
We need to cut it off.
We love y'all. We appreciate everybody for tuning in. Twitch, we love you. YouTube, we love you. Kick, we love you. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in, and we will see you next.